Level check. How are we looking?
Well, I'm looking just fantastic, thank you.
Do I need to raise my voice, or am I at an okay level?
I was going to say I didn't brush my hair today, but I'm still looking great. As usual. Hold on one second.
This episode is sponsored by Strongbow.
It really is.
Shit.
I wish we could get that. That would be a great sponsor.
Yeah. I should reach out to... Hey, did you guys hear the Stormcrows reopening?
Yes.
No, I missed that.
It's under a new name with a slightly different vibe. All right. We're going completely off script. I'm not even going to edit.
We're going commando.
Already there.
I was in the middle of saying I'm not even going to edit this episode. It's going to be the Christmas mailbag is coming in raw.
Perfect. Raw dog it.
We're just going to raw dog this one.
Ironic that the Christmas episode's not wrapped.
Raw dogging is commitment.
It could be.
It is.
It's potential.
Or gambling.
It's a gamble. A little bit of gamble. Mm-hmm. So, before we get into this special mailbag episode of It's a Mimic, what do you guys want for Christmas?
Oh, good question.
Lord, my sanity back. That'd be great.
Do you know what it looks like anymore?
No,
or?
it's like my sanity is so far down like the line is a dot to me. Like I
I feel
to
that.
get that back.
Yeah, I'm going to be more materialistic. I really want a Steam Deck, the new OLED model. I just want to be able to play games on the go.
That's cute.
Yeah. I have kids. I don't get to buy things for myself anymore.
That's dark, Brad.
They get all the toys.
That's fair. What do you want, Adam?
No, it's not about me. I don't ask for Christmas presents. Actually, you want to know what I asked for?
What did you ask for?
The one thing that I made sure that both Dan, Dave, and Charlie all knew, because we do Secret Santa, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to them, I have lifted the ban off of people giving me dice and people giving me minis, and I would like.
I need dice and minis again.
Yeah. This needs to come back into my life. No dice, no minis. Charlie knew better, and he got me something else. He got me a board game, and it was rad.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, I'm fine with that. But no, nothing.
Jerks.
I know.
I'm just
There's a reason Dan's not on the podcast anymore.
Yeah.
Because he didn't buy you dice.
That's not the reason, but it could be a reason.
Stupid.
Yeah.
I didn't really ask. I didn't ask or anything. I think the only thing I know that I might be getting is a new PlayStation 5 controller. Because I'm doing the whole medium distance girlfriend thing right now, where I constantly have to bring my PlayStation to my partner's house, and then I often leave my controller there. And then I have to use a PS4 controller, which for anybody who knows is not as great as the PS5
inferior
controller.
Inferior.
So it's been a very frustrating pinpoint for me. So I feel like they're going to get me one of those. So we'll find out. If they don't, sorry for the prediction. But
I said to everyone who would listen, I want a Roomba.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if you guys ever look down when you walk into this place, but you got to walk through the fucking wilderness to get
I have accepted that when I walk into your house, I'm walking into the forest.
Yeah, and everybody just brings in pine needles and tree.
I don't even care to walk through your house with my shoes on anymore.
You live in the mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the mountain lives in my apartment at this point.
Yeah.
So just a fucking Roomba would be so good for me.
You know what? I would love a fucking Roomba.
Yeah.
My cat would hate it, but I would love a Roomba.
What would a fucking Roomba look like? Like,
You know
it's
what?
just service on the go, or...
Well, it still sucks.
Yeah,
Let's start
obviously.
with that. Should we start this episode?
This is a train wreck. Are you sure you don't want to edit this?
No. This is just...
Merry Christmas, everybody. Our gift to you.
It's us raw dogging on a mic. So, welcome to another episode of the It's a Mimic podcast.
Om nom.
Where you never know what you're going to get. We are talking about mailbag stuff, which means you guys have sent in questions and we're going to answer them. And most of them are from patrons, but not all of them are. So, in the past, we've listed off who was asked what, but I think we're just going to skip that and get right to the questions.
Let's do it.
Because at this point, I think we have named all of these names at least twice on every episode. So,
I love that
except for Hydrus. Hi, Hydrus.
Welcome
They're new.
to the family.
That's a new name.
Yeah, so everybody else has done this before. Actually, I think DM Greg the Great
I think this
new.
is their first mailbag.
First mailbag. They've been
Yeah.
around the page or the Discord for a bit.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so...
Fucking Gregory.
And it's not an undead episode.
Sorry.
But I just assume that we've had questions from them in the past on different platforms under different names.
Yeah.
So
That's probably reasonable.
sure. So the way that this is going to work, because normally we have a list of 20 questions. This time we've got a list of 23 questions. So we're going to hold back and maybe not answer 3 of them and wait if there's a better host.
We have 3 vetoes, so
Yeah, we have
suck
3
it.
vetoes that you guys are going to have to put up with.
Yeah.
Because we're going to do 20 episodes.
20 episodes.
So 20 questions.
I have to go home and go to bed at some point. So
No, you don't. That is a damn lie. You were online at 4 a.m.
Final Fantasy is waiting
14.
for me.
Getting ready for that next expansion. You got to start gearing down.
Yeah, just got my max level.
All right, so let's grab dice to see what order we're going to ask the first 5 questions in.
All right, let's do it. You got to get it into the dice tower.
Okay, guys, thanks.
You got to get it in. I got a 2.
13.
I got a 10. All right, so we're going counterclockwise, starting with Megan.
Yeah.
Did you have the thing brought up on your phone?
Let me get my phone.
God damn it.
Now you're going to have to edit.
No, we're not going to edit this.
No,
we're going to leave it in.
Yeah, this is...
Do.
I don't know. We might have to edit that. I don't think we have the right.
I think I was under the limit, or it's still fair use.
Okay.
We should be fine.
If we're out of tone enough, if we're off key enough.
That's right.
Can I? Yeah, I'm
I
off.
could have been any song.
All right, here we go. So I have to roll a dice, right? Is that how this works?
You just
Usually.
did. So now you just go.
Oh,
We're just picking them raw
I
this
take
time.
a raw question?
No, let's go in order. So that
No, what
Top
do
to
you mean,
bottom?
do I roll what I rolled?
no, because otherwise we're gonna land on 6, 9 freaking times. And
Isn't that the fun of it?
all right, fine, yeah, roll what you want.
I want to pick a random question.
All right, pick a random question.
Well, I want to roll for it.
Well, then roll for it, Megan. Merry
We're
Christmas.
playing D&D, Adam. Let me have this.
5.
All right. Hold on here.
Oh, how appropriate.
Oh, my phone doesn't like this at all. Oh, there we go. Okay, I'll just have to do it this way. All right. Loved hearing the ladies just clown on Lord Soth. We did do that.
Fuck.
But
Did you ever? That poor man.
Also, this comes from Makusa, DM. But as some novels state, at one point, Lord Soth ends up in Barovia and other domains till he gets his own, and after many years as a Dark Lord finds redemption. After reading both Curse of Strahd and Dragonlance, good for you, I have done that, not done that. Would you be interested in if Wizards of the Coast continued either adventure and a party who played their Dragonlance or Curse of Strahd could end up in the second adventure, high-level adventure? Also, how would you go about creating such an adventure? So I'm assuming this is about, like, if we wanted to continue...
Once you're done Curse of Strahd or Dragonlance, you keep going with Lord Saw.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it would end in a marriage. And then you have a lineage and a child and the children's.
That has never worked out for him.
You know what?
Or his
Why would it
brides.
work this time?
Okay, someone could change him.
Oh my...
Oh, wow.
Oh, Megan.
Oh.
No, Megan.
So this is... Welcome to It's a Mimic Therapy session.
Well, I could be the one!
You sure could be. You go, Neo.
Fuck.
I could be the one. I'll write the story. I'll write the tale.
All right, Pepperina, calm down.
Yeah, right.
Well, this is for Peps. It's either me or Peps, let's be real.
Or both.
Or both.
Yeah.
Maybe it's an open relationship, and between the two of you, you can finally fix whatever's going on.
Oh my god, both the bride from Dragonlance and Curse of Strahd end up teaming up as team members to...
That's called tag teaming. It's a little different.
Just run the train.
Just because I'm thirsty for more Lord Soth.
Lord Soth needs a Gatorade.
Oh, we would run that. We would run his show. I hope you know.
Okay, so that's not how I would do it.
How would you do it?
So me and Dan.
I knew it.
No, okay, so obviously I would take it from the Dragonlance side because you're fighting Takesis the whole time and he's just kind of like a minion. Mm-hmm. And so I would Darth Vader him at the end of the first Star Wars, where partway through you just like knock him out and he, oh no, off into the fucking distance.
Yeah.
Right? And then pops up again later. So as much as his, like when you play the Shadow of the Dragon Queen, his backstory is very much a major plot through the last like third of the game.
Okay.
But he also has a number of lieutenants and other people with him. So he comes kind of geared up. So I would have him get banished or whatever to Barovia. And then have the Soth versus Strahd war. And you have to kind of figure out what Strahd's whole deal is. And then I would just level the fuck out of the Curse of Strahd campaign. While also having Lord Soth kind of dick around at the Amber Temple, or maybe he's up at the top of Mount, what is it, Beartalk, I think. Like, whatever it is. So that's how I would do it.
Okay.
I have no thoughts on this because this is out of my wheelhouse.
You don't do
I'm-
vampires and
not that
undead gluttony and...
I would. I just don't care enough to do them
lust.
myself.
That's lust. It's not gluttony.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hunger for a lot. So.
Are we going to go there? I think we're just going to hold.
We are raw dogging this, aren't we?
We sure are.
I have had
just
only one strongbow.
there you go. Well, so far. No, Crystal Strategist is not my jam. I would play it if it was what other group was doing, but I just haven't dug into it.
That's fair.
I feel like your jam is a little bit more funhouse.
It is. Yeah, like I'm probably the only person on this podcast who actually actively wants to play Spelljammer.
I would play in it, but I don't want to DM it.
Yeah, I don't want to DM it either.
I would play in
That's
it
the
as
problem.
long as it lasts for 5 months and I'm done.
Oh yeah, it would have to be a short campaign, but I do want to do it.
I would not.
That's okay. I will also play in your L5R campaign to get my serious shit out of the way.
That's fair.
So.
I like giving people feelings.
And then
I'm
ghosting.
rolling.
It's true.
What is that? That's,
6.
That's a 9.
Oh, it is a 9.
Fine, yeah.
All right. So, do dwarven women have beards? And if so, is it on their faces?
Okay. Anyone can have hair on their face. Okay.
Yep, absolutely. But
And anyone can have hair everywhere
Where
else if
else?
they want.
Yeah.
Like if they want. I'm just saying. I always loved the Tolkien version
Yeah.
of dwarven women having beards,
Yes.
and they're being hard to
differentiate.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also like, look, we've got elves can swap genders.
Yep.
I like that we've got super, like, androgynous, like, changelings and Kalishtar.
Mm-hmm.
I like that we've got kobolds that can change genders. Having just a androgynous, but in the other direction, not like the
Yeah.
super sleek female, like, androgynous, the Tilda Swinton version, right? But having just, like, a really, like, beefy, bulky, bearded race.
Yes,
And it doesn't matter what gender they are.
absolutely.
That just feels fun and good and interesting and new and
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm fully on board with that. In fact, a little off topic, but Mines of Moria was a game that came out very recently, focused specifically on the dwarves.
Yeah.
And they went fully down that route. Like, you
Good.
can beard out your female dwarves as much as you want, and it looks fantastic.
Oh.
Like, it fits. It
Yep.
suits. I'm totally on board with it. And as for the anywhere else, everywhere else.
Because they're kind of like low-key Scottish coded
Yeah.
some of the time,
Yeah.
I would totally have them wearing kilts with like lower beard hanging down with beads in it.
Hey, oh, absolutely.
Right.
Like the hair.
Just super long.
Yeah.
hair beads.
Yeah.
To dread the shit out of that.
They gotta like steam it so it straightens.
There's
and
a
shit,
braid
like-
between the ass cheeks.
You know what?
We call it the dwarven tail.
Give it a tug.
Megan, do dwarven women have beards? And if so,
Oh, 100%.
where?
Like, I do like the idea that we have, like, these species in these games that can be androgynous and they can be still attractive and, you know, cared for by whomsoever they decide to be in a relationship with. You know what I mean? So it's a feel-good moment. So, yeah. I agree.
All right.
I think we're all in favor. All right, next one.
Beards for all.
8. All right. Oh, I'm on the same vein. Do female halflings have hairy feet? And is it desirable? Or is there a surge of, the younger generation preferring shaved feet? So is it taboo to show shaved feet? Or do they just wear feet thongs? AKA flip-flops. I'll go right up on this. Halflings, it's not in 5e that they have hairy feet. That is a hobbit thing.
Yeah.
That is not a halfling thing.
That's the Hobbitses.
So, homebrew it as you will. According to 5e rules, though, I say nobody has hairy feet unless you want them to. Whatever you want to do it.
Hey man, if it makes me money on Only Toes and like Feet Finder,
Feet Finder,
then, like,
baby.
you do you.
So I personally don't kink shame, but there's one thing that I cannot handle, and it is feet. I
Yeah.
don't like feet. So we live in a very wet province, and I played soccer when I was younger. So like the sweaty, gross soccer socks, that's all I can think about. Like I can't. I'm done. I'm not about it. So for me personally, in my game, everybody wears shoes. Everybody wears shoes unless they have cloven hooves, right? Like
I often put my monks in some sort of strap sandal.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, that makes
Right?
makes
A
sense.
strap,
but, like,
some sort of strap footwear. They're not generally walking around barefoot, right? That again, that's a Hobbit thing to me.
I'm not going to Quentin Tarantino my fucking D&D.
Oh God, no!
Like that's.
I'm not describing feet. No.
No, that's. We're not going to talk about the sleek shape of their toes, despite how much I know for a fact there's at least one host that is not here in the room today that would be all over that shit, and it would be very uncomfortable very quickly. And I will let the listeners speculate as to who that is. Anyways, Megan, that's you. No, not that shit. I said not on this episode.
Blast.
I said not on this episode.
You can find me on Finder at.
At Megan Sparkle Toes.
Oh, I got a 20.
Yay.
Good for me. When was it that you realized you loved TTRPGs? This is from Acid Dialogue. When did I realize I loved them? I would say there was a moment when I was in a campaign, my first campaign I ever played in. It was my partner made me play, and I hated everything about it. But then I got so attached to my character that when something happened, I actually went home that day and I cried about it. And I was like, why am I so upset about this? And I'm like, I'm so attached to this character and what's happening to them and like going through these emotions that this character is going. And that was the first time I realized like I am invested in this. Mm-hmm. And I want to see where this goes. And like I was excited for the next session. I was excited for the next thing to happen. And like I was connected to the people that I was playing with and the players that they had. It was like the first time I reached out to be like, okay, what do we do next? Like, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? And like that would definitely be around the time that there was one of my first campaigns I ever played in was that. One of the first campaign I ever played in was a 3.5 D&D and it was a terrible experience and I hated it.
Because of the mechanics or because of the people?
Both.
Okay.
It was a different group, different mechanics, different style of playing. And then when I played with this new group, again, it's the people that make it.
Absolutely.
I played with great storytellers, people that are really good at having dialogue at the table and making it. They were also as invested as you were, so we were having emotional conversations at the table. And like that, for me, made the difference. It made me realize I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So.
I think for me, like I played 3.5. I came up through it, and like right from the beginning of when it became 0.5, I had the 3.0 player's handbook for the first few months there. Like, but it was just a bunch of guys sitting around theory crafting the best way to beat the mechanics to just min-max the shit out of stuff and power game. And so
Not my jam.
yeah, I would get there. I enjoyed the puzzle of it. I really did like the puzzle of it. But I did not show up for the story. It wasn't the game. It was no different than doing like a puzzle book, like a Sudoku or something. Sure. Right? So, incidentally, my favorite thing is that Dan calls them Sudokus. So he gets it backwards.
Yeah,
I
that
hate
tracks.
Yeah. So there we go. But anyway, so like I liked that, but it wasn't until 4th edition, which was thoroughly flawed.
Yeah.
But we actually sat down to play a game, to do a module, and I got so invested in it. And then when the DM moved away and took all my $3,000 worth of minis and my 19 books and everything else, I was so heartbroken. And I didn't realize it until suddenly it wasn't there anymore. Mm-hmm. And I remember the night I found out, I laid in bed all night. I watched the sun come up through my bedroom window. And I was just sitting there staring at the ceiling going, why am I so upset about this?
Yeah.
Like, at what point did this become so important to me? Mm-hmm. And it got so important, and it surprised me so much that I swore off D&D for 6-7 years. Mm-hmm. Not until 5th edition was a third of the way through, and I came back, so...
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it was probably our campaign, the Clear Cut campaign, is when I really fell in love with it.
I'm sorry, Brad. I'm so sorry.
It was the murder. The brilliant watching Adam intricately kill a party of all new players or inexperienced players with his own antics, coordinated with Dan the DM, and seeing, okay, this is like this terrible thing happened, and it was the most fun I've had in a long time.
Yeah.
Like, having my character killed off was actually delightful for me.
I love it. That's when you know you're playing in a good
Yeah.
game. Yeah.
Where it was just like, I'm not upset, because this was one of the most fantastic things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I spent an hour last week, because I was in the car, I spent an hour trying to, like, radio off, stuck in traffic, staring, like through traffic,
Yep.
trying to remember the name of the kobold.
Oh, shit.
The NPC that I, like, kidnapped when I murdered the rest of you. And then I dipped through a portal.
I probably have it in notes somewhere, but I do not recall it.
I could not, for the life of me, remember what I named that kobold NPC. So.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Is that me?
You're
That's
next.
you.
19. Almost as good as a 20.
Oh boy.
Cast the Princess Bride today.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look up the cast of Princess
crap.
Bride currently.
Right?
Hold on here.
All right, first of all, I'm going to say this. Billy Crystal and Carol Kane, who played the old people,
Still.
could still, look, they could just
Yeah.
reprise their roles, and that they were perfect.
Absolutely.
That was absolutely fine.
Yeah, would not change.
Can we just bring the whole cast back and just do it again? I mean, no, we can't.
No, we
There's
can't.
a few losses, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Um,
Is Wallace Shawn still around?
no, I don't believe so.
Is he not? I think if he died, it was very recent.
Yes, I feel like it was during COVID, though.
Yeah,
I think he
that sounds
did.
right.
Or no?
No, still going.
Still going.
Still
There we
going.
go.
80 years old.
I mean, that'd be pretty great.
Yeah. Okay, all right, hold on. Let me see if I can do this. The Prince Humperdinck,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rob Lowe.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
Yeah, I dig it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's his henchman's name?
His
Igor?
henchman?
You talking about the one in the basement?
No.
No,
No, the six-fingered hand.
yeah.
Because I want him to be Adam Driver.
Oh, that would be good.
Like, you'd probably have to age him up a little bit, but I
little.
really like him for, I think he would be just, like, super fucking weird about the pain stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Just
Yeah.
weird.
Just fucking weird, and I'm all for it.
Inigo Montoya. I don't do celebrity names, but it is. Crap. Hold on, I'm gonna look this up because it's gonna drive me crazy.
The actual Inigo Montoya is Mandy Patinkin.
No, yeah, I know it's bad, but Manny Patinkin was the original.
Yeah.
But who's everybody's celebrity crush right now?
Pedro.
Pedro.
Oh, Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
Oh,
I thought the same thing because he's supposed to be Spanish,
Yes.
right? Like, I thought the same thing. He's a little bit older, but
You can make it work.
yeah,
it's
against Adam Driver, like you killed my
Yeah.
father. It's not gonna work, but I like it.
but who's replacing Andre?
The mountain. No,
God,
no.
that's
Hodor.
right. What's
Hodor,
his name?
yes.
I don't know what his real name is, but yeah.
Hodor.
Hodor.
I think he would be just that same level of fun.
A little bit of hilarity.
Christian Nairn.
Yeah.
There it is. Because somebody's going to be on the podcast right now. And that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know who I would do like Wesley.
Wesley, yeah.
Wesley and Buttercup.
I don't know. Like,
Who's young and hot these days?
that's just it. I'm not
Yeah.
paying attention
Because
to.
we're in our mid to late 30s, and we're
Yeah.
all like,
Oh, who's doing Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? What's his face?
Timothy Chalamet?
Timothy Chalamet.
I don't know.
Does he have the comedy chops,
too
though? I don't
boyish.
think he's got the comedy
too
chops.
boyish.
Well, it has to be boyish.
but that's too boyish.
Maybe.
Like he has to have a certain level of like.
Like, you know who I would want is Donald Glover from 5 years ago,
Okay.
right?
That'd be good.
Let's go look up like famous.
And who's
female
Princess
actresses.
Buttercup, then?
I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think of like the young actresses.
Yeah.
Because I sat down and I watched what's that fucking
You know what? Taylor Swift.
no, God damn it. No.
We're gonna make it a sing along.
You know they're doing that to so many movies now, where they're making like musicals and then
Jennifer Lawrence.
yeah,
It would be so cute.
yeah, and then she's age appropriate for Donald
yeah,
Glover.
that's true.
Yeah.
So I like that. And then what about what's his name? Who replaces Wallace Shawn? We just have Wallace Shawn back again.
I mean,
yeah, I'm cool.
yeah, I'm totally fine with bringing him back.
Yeah, it's too perfect in that role. I wouldn't be able to.
Those rats, the giant rats.
The rouses?
Yeah.
Those of unusual size?
Yeah, I would.
Replace them with hamsters?
No, I would replace them with the cast of Cats.
Buttholes and everything?
Well, because they're super creepy and
They are.
weirdly vicious.
Yeah.
Like I would not want to turn my back on one of those.
That's fair.
Is that?
I think we got
That's like the main
key
cast.
roles. Actually, can we do Brad Williams, the comedian? He's one of the little people comedians. Hilarious. He would do a great job of doing that role.
Yeah, we could do that. That'd be fun. I also think that a young Bruce Campbell could have been Wesley,
But he's not young.
but he's not young anymore.
No.
But just that smarmy fucking smirk would have been right. What do we got? Who else are we missing, Megan?
No one really. There was
The-
Who is the dungeon keep or the torturer?
What's the name of the guy? He did Little Britain. He was Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Oh, yes, I know exactly who you're talking
Right,
about.
what is his fucking name?
Billy Crystal.
No,
No.
not Billy Crystal. Matt Lucas.
Matt Lucas. Yeah, I think he would be a.
he would.
phenomenal-
Yeah, that is a perfect pull.
Yeah.
All right, I think have we covered our bases here? I think.
Actually, I could also see Matt Berry doing it.
Oh yeah.
I think that'd be a lot of fun. But Matt Berry can do no wrong.
No.
You guys are just saying names.
Some of us exist outside of video games.
I barely exist in video games right now either. Like, just pop culture and the outside world is just unbeknownst to me as a whole.
I can name Bluey characters. Do you want to go through Bluey characters? That's my life
Is
these
that
days.
that TV series with the dogs?
Yeah, the most delightful show on television.
Yeah. I've seen TikToks about that.
Sure.
Welcome to parenthood. Woo! It's a blast. All right, next question. Let's move on.
Throw it in.
13. Lucky number 13. You all complained that you were getting really sensible questions for being a D&D podcast last mailbag.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. I don't like how this is
Oh,
starting.
good start, good start.
So I'm going to maybe get you all real uncomfortable for a laugh. Any dating advice for a 19-year-old straight boy who's really bad at the whole socialization thing? Like being an extrovert, but also being bad at being an extrovert.
How are you bad at being an extrovert?
First of all...
Well, for Dan.
Yeah. First of all, I am not an extrovert. You already lost me there.
I guess so.
I
you an
dated
introvert?
and married, so there it is.
Are you an introvert or extrovert?
I'm an introverted extrovert. I like having my social interactions, but they drain the fuck out of me, and I need like 5 days of recovery.
Yeah, that's an introvert.
Yeah,
Am I the only extrovert on the fucking podcast?
I think so.
Probably.
Terry's probably an
Terry is up
extrovert.
there for sure.
When I'm extroverted, though,
Peps.
like when I'm in my element, I can be extroverted.
Yeah, Peps
Peps
pretty
is an
extrovert.
extrovert.
Yeah.
But no, there's a reason we're hiding behind a microphone with no cameras.
Yeah.
Not Dan, not Dave. I'm trying to go through the list now.
Yeah.
Not James. I think Kyle needs
no.
some recharge time. We've got Casey is a no.
Tyler's
Tyler's
an extrovert.
Yeah.
Tyler's the biggest extrovert you will ever meet in your life.
Cute.
In fact, he can't thrive.
Here's the thing, though. Like, I worked jobs where I was required to be an extrovert for 10 to 15 hours of my day.
Yeah.
And I think that's just what taught me to respect the ideals of quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
Dan and I actually had this conversation a little while ago about we are introverts who will step up when an extrovert is needed, right? If we're in a group where there's no extroverts and
Yeah.
you need somebody to step up and do the speech in front of a crowd or do the meet and greet, do the mingling, whatever, we'll do
Yeah.
it. But we're not going to like it, and we're going to need to recover.
Is Elwyn an extrovert?
Elwyn is, she's similar. We're very, very loud and opinionated and when in her element, like very out there. But then when it comes to like, she likes her quiet time with her books.
Roman's an extrovert.
Roman is an extrovert.
Yeah. Okay. So there's
Yeah.
a handful of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
You're not alone.
So dating advice then.
I don't know. I did it once and it worked.
I feel like I'm the only one in this room right now that's like has been actively dating in the last
The
5,
fuck
6
do you
years.
think that I've been doing for the last 7 years?
Well, I mean, like
You've been in a relationship for a while now.
That's what I'm saying though, and it's
Yeah, that's true. You are
taking
still
some
dating.
fucking work.
Yeah. Well, you're long distance dating too, which makes it even harder.
Yeah.
Rule number 1, don't be creepy.
That's hard.
That
these
is
days.
hard. Delete all your social media.
I don't know. I think the one piece of advice that I was always given when dating folks and going through the dating world, because I've had to restart a few times in my life. I'm a long-term relationship person. I like long-term connections. I like being with people. I like getting to know people enough that they become my person. But I always find in this day and age, kids and folks are so hell-bent on playing the game. Whereas someone told this to me once and I've stuck with it ever since. If you want to send the text message, send it. If you want to have a conversation, have it. If you want to hang out with someone, ask. Because at the end of the day, if you end up turning out to be too much for someone, tell them to go find less.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason to hide who you are as a person for your needs and your wants, because it's just going to come up later.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to hide it forever.
No, like, you might as well just come out of the gate swinging. Like, I don't like this whole idea of trying to hide who you are to become something that someone falls in love with, only for you to fuck it up later because who you are will eventually come out.
Yeah.
So you will find the person that loves your weird.
And I gotta say, okay, if you're 19, so it's 19 straight boys dating.
Yeah.
It feels like your life has already passed you by and you missed all of your
it has
opportunities.
not.
Yeah.
Like tip of the fucking iceberg.
You're just coming out of the gate.
What you need to do is do 3 things: be patient,
Yeah.
respect other people, and that includes listen.
100%.
And respecting other people just means don't push your own shit on them, right?
Yeah.
And then finally, make yourself available for lots of different kind of people. They will come to you if you are honest about yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And that's where that patience comes in. My big thing has always been listen, respect, sincerity.
Yep.
That is how I've had success. I have had a long, crazy roller coaster of dating life. And it is now coming to an end, which I'm very excited
Hooray!
about. However, because we are drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
But I am very much all about plant your feet and say what you mean and mean what you say.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's the same thing. Don't play the fucking games.
Don't play the
right?
fucking game.
And you can find life on Tinder, but you won't find life or love on Tinder.
Yeah.
It just won't happen.
No.
Like the odds of it are so fucking low. Meet people, join clubs, be available, make yourself available. But you create opportunities for others to come to you. You don't go hunting others. No. That's creepy.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's when the creep factor creeps in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like I've said this once or twice on the podcast over the years, but like I am a polyamorous.
Waffle.
I am a polyamorous
Oh.
person, which means I date multiple people and I deal with multiple hearts at once. And every human is different. And so to your point, when you're saying listen and be sincere is just the only thing you can really do with another human being. And again, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It's going to hurt and it's going to suck, but there will be more. Like I've had long-term relationships. I've been engaged. I have been all these things throughout my entire life. I'm now in my mid-30s and I have lived multiple lives with other people. And every time I restart, it seems like the end, but it just ends up being different and better each time, right? So don't be scared.
No. Be willing to put yourself out there.
Yeah, and the tricky part is going to be where to find the balance, right? Because there are 3 people in every 2-person relationship. There's you, there's the other person, and then there's the relationship itself. That's its own fucking entity.
Yeah.
And you need to make you the least important person in the room. And by that I mean you make the needs of your partner and the needs of the relationship very, very fucking important. But
And let's make it clear, the other person needs to be doing the same.
yes, and that's just it. You don't sacrifice yourself. You just prioritize others. So that you give of yourself. And then hopefully the other 2 things will give back. And so then each person who is separate is giving enough and getting from 2 entities, both their partner and the relationship. Because there's sometimes I talk to Mieka and we're not getting along. And I mean, it's long distance and communication is so fucking important.
So difficult to do.
And so, yeah, and fortunately we have had years of only being able to talk.
Yeah.
That's it. We can't just get over it or walk to another room and close the door. We do a thing where we don't hang up on each other. We'll sit there until the other person is ready to say it all, and then we move forward. And it's so fucking hard to do that, but it's important to think that, hey, I'm getting everything I need out of not just this one person, but also out of the relationship. Because there's some times I need to talk to a friend, or I need to talk to someone about work, or I'm frustrated with Mieke and I. We're so frustrated with our relationship. It is long distance and it is painful. Just how fucking planning a wedding.
I was going to say, your wedding planning on top of everything else. That's its own stressor.
And trying to navigate immigration and like there's so much going on where we have to put the relationship aside and say, we are going to have date night on Saturday night. Yeah. And our relationship, that entity is going to thrive then. But right now, I need you to do math. I need you to pull out the spreadsheet. I need you to make a phone call. Right? So.
Yeah. But I think that, like, if you're looking at starting a relationship, I think the key point is it can happen in very different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yours happened on, like you pointed out, yours happened online.
Yeah.
Mine happened through friend circles and years of being friends with folks.
Sure.
Mine was mutual friends at a Halloween party.
Yeah.
Like, just both of us showed up, introduced, and that was it.
Yep.
Like, we can't tell you how you're going to meet the person.
No,
like that.
I dated my high school sweetheart 15 years after high school.
Yeah.
Like, these things just happen that way.
Yeah.
So.
Life finds a way.
It does.
You know that Mieke and I just became my longest relationship, like,
Oh, wow.
3 months ago.
Oh, congratulations to you two.
Congrats. I warned my partners that my year limit is usually 3.
Yeah.
And we're going to be coming up. So like, there might be a time.
It'll be one way or the other.
I'm going to go to a dark place.
Or a really good place.
Or,
Hey, look, Strongbow.
mine's empty.
Your turn to roll. We can move on.
My turn to roll?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let me grab it. 15. Oh, that's my lucky number. How would I use assassin vines against my party? What is assassin vines?
They are vines that wrap around you, constrict, and kill you.
It's all
Oh,
in there.
great grappling! I fucking love
There
grappling.
are so many great ways to do this.
Oh
but
my
your question,
God.
you get to go first.
Hold on here. Let me just.
I'm getting another Strongbow.
Thanks.
You want another one, Brad?
I'm good, thanks.
Oh, it's an actual like creature. It's a large plant.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. No, they're fantastic and a lot of fun, and I have used them. I have some thoughts, but I'm going to let you go first.
Well, I mean, you can pop off first, Mike. I have to read this.
I mean, if that's where we want to go, there are so many great ways to use grappling vines. First of all, I always like to target the small NPCs first.
Oh, great. Love that about you.
Yeah. Well, because you really want to show the strength of these, and then your players feel really special when they manage to free that NPC, if they manage to do it. Mm-hmm. I really like to put them in tight corridors, where you don't really have a way... Low light, tight corridors is where I like to put them. Mm-hmm. That said, they're perfect to come down... we talk about this all the time, right? Weather in D&D and trail conditions.
Yeah.
Like, let's walk through a canopied trail. How many of those do we have here in British Columbia? They're everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And how often you aren't always looking up, especially in a continuous canopy,
Yeah.
right? So all it takes is, we've checked for traps, they're just walking along, boom, there goes the little halfling that's wandering in the back, because it's always safest to be in the back. Because these things, while not intelligent, they still have enough wherewithal to target something they can actually pick up.
Yeah, they're
not,
right?
Yeah, they're not looking for the giant half-orc barbarian or the Goliath paladin. They're looking for the little halfling rogue or bard that's hanging out in the back, kind of not paying attention to where they're going, and boom, up they go. And now your party's dealing with, well, the 3D effect of a grappling vine.
Well, that was going to be my answer. Is I like to use assassin vines, and I haven't done it in a while. But when you have to scale the cliff, and it is a DC 25, athletics check to climb up here, but there are vines there, and you'd figure if you grab them, it'd be only a DC 13 to get up. Mm-hmm. But
now you're making an imposed strength check.
Yeah, but no, you would get most of the way up,
yeah,
and then have to like keep swapping vines until you get to the assassin vine. It grabs you and holds you, and now you're fighting in midair. So
I would just like to have a druid that has one of these as like a pet and just carries it around with it in a little potted plant.
Like, feed me, Seymour?
Yeah, man.
I dig it.
Why not?
Why not? Absolutely,
Right?
I'm on board.
It seems really cute, and I really like. Have you met my plant? Or they just
needs blood.
Or they just have a backpack that has like these vines spilling out of it, and you're like, "What a weird fucking outdoor creature this is."
Until it like grabs somebody's cat
in the
as you're
middle
walking
of the
town.
night, it's like nibbling on the toes of like the.
I love the idea. I love the idea that it is like inside a backpack, and every once in a while, when you're not looking, the backpack lifts up, and the 4 or 5 vines move like legs, so it skitters across the campsite and then sits down.
The backpack moves,
Yeah.
close to the fire.
Whenever you're not looking,
or further away from the fire.
Perfect.
Amazing.
All right, is that me?
Yeah, great monster choice though. Yellow.
17. How's it going, fellas?
Megan?
Well, first of all, I'm not a fella.
Fella is a gender neutral term.
Is it?
I think at this point it is. Fellow just means another person.
Okay, but fella.
Like my fellow podcast hosts.
Yeah.
I guess so.
But I feel like fellas is.
But
is
when you gain
pointed at
fellowship at an institution, that's gender neutral.
Sure.
A fella is just a shorthand for fellow.
I'm doing all right.
Yeah? Wait, are we telling the truth? Are we still back in It's a Mimic therapy?
You know what? I feel like I've been therapized on this podcast more times than I can count. I feel people know where I'm at in life right now. But no, as a whole, doing great. I actually DM'd on Sunday.
Oh, lovely.
DM'd a game on Sunday.
How was it?
No, but weirdly enough, so for those who guys know anything about L5R, there is a land called Marinay, which is not necessarily overly developed within the L5R landscape. So I took it and made it D&D.
Okay.
And so I'm playing with the folks that normally play L5R, so it was their first time playing D&D in a while.
Yep.
So I messaged Adam in the morning. I'm like, they're building their character sheets, and this is the most adorable thing I've ever watched in my life. And it went really well. There's a couple of things where I haven't DM'd D&D in a while, and when I do, it's really short one-shots. Like we did the Christmas episode, we did a couple of other things that are really quick, like one-shots, just funny and like entertaining. This was my first attempt at like doing something that's going to be a little bit longer. And luckily enough, my players at the table are so good at role-playing, I don't have to do a lot, but at the same time, it taught me how to like... I have a couple bullet points in my head of how I'm going to do things better for next time. But I definitely went into that like mind of like, am I going to continue this? Was it fun enough? Did they enjoy themselves? Do I need to get feedback? Like, I went through that dark hole for a hot minute.
I do that every other Sunday.
Yeah, I was going to say,
you never stop
doing
doing
it.
it.
I DM a regular group, and I still every time go, did they have fun?
Well, because I never did that with our L5R group, because like I've played with you guys for so long that I never really like went through the dark hole of thinking whether or not this was worth continuing. I actually had to check in with all of them being like, do I even bother? Like, and they're like, no, let's continue. I'm just like, okay, because I had that DM brain. Anyways, I'm out of it now, and I'm super stoked to move forward. So it's been the first time I've been kind of inspired with my own writing. So
That's awesome.
I'm in a good place.
Awesome.
Yeah. What about you guys? How are you doing?
It's your question, Adam, so you can take this.
I am waiting for... Okay, so in Canada we have Boxing Day, which is a strange thing for Americans, but in a lot of other places.
It's our Black Friday.
It's our Black Friday. It's a day after Christmas, and it's when all the stores get rid of their excess Christmas shit, right? However, it's become so much more than that, where there's special deals on electronics and so on and so forth. I'm hoping that this Boxing Day, I can find a deal to get a new editing computer. And then I will be spending the next 3 weeks transferring all of the It's a Mimic files over onto this thing and starting to run from scratch there. So we've got 2 editors waiting in the wings to be like, show me how to edit so that we can get this ready. And I'm like, I will, but I gotta get the new computer.
Get my file sorted.
I want to look better.
So it's not even that. No. It's I just don't want to wait on the loading time.
Oh, it's so funny. Adam has instructions for how to edit the podcast.
Yeah.
And you can tell it's on his dinosaur of a computer. He's like, break it up into 15-minute segments and run the... I'm like, fuck that. I'm doing the whole file. It's done faster than it takes him to do a 15-second segment.
Well, it's funny because Dan also has to do it that way, right? And I did it on Dave's computer at one point, which had to be broken up into 15-minute segments.
Yeah.
But every time we run NoiseGate, it crashes my computer.
Yeah.
The battery, the power supply on this laptop has a 6-hour lifespan, which means I have to turn the computer off and let it just sit and completely cool down, because in 6 hours it will overheat and shut down. So about 3 hours before every recording, I have to mentally keep it straight in my head, shut down the laptop. Whenever I have to do a Call of Cthulhu, those take dozens of hours to edit. I have to set an alarm on my phone, right? And a lot of the time I will edit for 4 hours and then it will shut off and I will lose it all. And I am just mad for the next 3 weeks. I'm not going to come back to this motherfucker, right? And
so there's a donate button on our website at www.itsamimic.com.
There's also a Patreon, so thank you, patrons. Thank you, patrons.
It is the Patreon that is going to be paying for this if I can find the appropriate deal, because all of our annual shit is coming out
Also
as well.
doing,
So that's
man.
And we paid the staff this year.
I saw
There's
that.
Christmas bonuses for everybody.
Christmas bonuses.
Everybody that is an editor, anybody that does art, and anybody that runs a website.
Yeah.
So everybody got paid. All the editors except for me.
Unexpectedly.
So
I literally messaged him like, what the fuck is this for?
I said the same thing.
And he's just like, there's a message in the goddamn thing. And I'm like, okay, yeah.
I saw the message. I'm like, you better actually be okay with this. This better not be coming your pocket.
I had 7 people that got paid out.
Yeah.
Just little bonuses, nothing crazy.
No.
But I only one of them just took the money and ran and didn't question it. I low-key am applauding this person. I'm not going to call them out. I was like, are you sure? Is everything okay? Is it Patreon? Can we support this? I'm like, take it. As one person just like,
This is all of our passion
thank you, goodbye.
Bye. Won't see me again.
I don't even think I deposited until like 2 days later.
I know. I'm
Oh,
simply
I've got
watching.
mine on auto deposit. So the money was already there, and I look at my email, and I'm like, what the hell is this?
Mine never is, so I can see and make sure that I'm not taking somebody's money I don't deserve.
Also, I'm very vocal about this because I want the patrons to know where the money's going.
Yeah.
But also, I'm trying to guilt trip the other host that might listen to this. Hey, you might get a Christmas bonus if you edit a fucking episode.
They probably don't listen to it anyways.
No, they're not going to do it.
Fair enough.
So, anyway, Brad, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. I am that weird combination of completely burnt out, but doing fine.
You've leveled out to like, this is my life now.
This is just it.
This is my level.
Life with 2 kids is stressful. It's crazy, but it's fine. It sucks, but I have no real complaints. It's also good.
That's good.
It's that weird dichotomy that how do you hold those two?
I'm not in crisis by any means. Day by day, my stress level is high.
Yeah.
My blood pressure is up.
Yeah.
But I go to bed content.
Yeah.
I'm not stressed.
I'm not lying awake in bed at night.
I'm not going to lose my car tomorrow.
No.
I've got the bills are paid. I'm fine.
You guys don't lie awake in bed?
I do, but not. But for very, very,
Very
strange, different reasons.
I'm always stressed out.
All right, so going back to how you're great.
How are you doing?
It's so good.
We'll take this offline.
So happy.
No, I actually had like legitimately had a moment early today where I laid down on my dirty fucking forest floor of an apartment and like face down and I was talking to Mieka and she's like, "Are you muffled? What's going on?" My
face is on the floor.
I'm not fucking doing this anymore.
Yeah, I'm tired.
Just fucking done. Like 1 p.m. Like I'm ready for bed.
It's color.
Yeah.
BB.
So.
But we're all still here, and we're all happy.
Man.
In different variations.
All right, let's roll it, Brad.
Let's do it. Let's move on from our feelings. Push them down like they should be. 18. Ooh. Teen Green or Teen Black?
Horde of the Dragon Queen.
Oh, I was thinking tea. I prefer black tea.
I was I like black tea. It's got a higher caffeine content, unless you're looking at matcha, and that's a completely different story.
So, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Horde of the Dragon Queen. Like, there's a black dragon and a green dragon, right? Okay, so, like...
I am almost always Team Green Dragon, just generically speaking.
Green Dragon. Like, solidarity, brother.
I know there's a lot of Black Dragon supporters out there. I get it.
Yeah.
You like to be
Love me
edgy.
a Black
You
Dragon.
like to be edgy. I get it. You were a teen who wore a lot of dark mascara in high school. I get it.
Teen.
That's Megan right now.
That's right. No, Green Dragons all the way.
No, black dragon. Absolutely.
Really?
I would support 100%.
Your character literally follows a green dragon in D&D.
That's because of the storyline that I chose to follow. Me
Okay.
as Megan, black dragon all the way.
No.
Some people actually play different people than their characters, which I know you're not used to from your players.
I mean, technically, this is the first campaign where I am legitimately like playing my.
Dave always plays himself.
Really? Cora wasn't you through and through?
No, Cora was too good. Cora was way too good to be me.
You know where she ended up, right?
She's a Dark Knight now. It's fine.
Yeah. So, no.
I corrupted her slowly.
I at least get an
I was like,
assist
I
on
did
that.
this.
It was all me.
I feel like Casey gets a little bit of an assist on this as well.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Green Dragon, absolutely.
Yeah.
I want the conniving, the plotting.
Yeah, the brilliance of a Green Dragon.
Yeah, I don't need the sadism of a black dragon. No. I want the brilliant mind of a.
There's so many other things that can do that.
Yeah.
So many other creatures that can fill the spot of a black dragon.
I hate both.
That's why you're a black dragon fan.
Also, I'm more forest than swamp, so that helps too, right?
Love me a good swamp.
Not even touching it. We're moving on.
It is warm in this room.
Who rolled this?
I did.
You did.
So it's Megan's
My turn. I'm gonna use the black dice for my black dragon.
Swamp.
Oh, 1.
Ooh, nat 1.
Oh, Lord. Okay. Could we please get more tips and plot hooks for using the infernal machines from Descent into Avernus on the material plane?
On the material plane.
These are things that are built within the 9 hells, right?
Yes.
Like, that's the...
All right.
Alright.
Soul coins.
I really feel like this is a Kyle or Dave question.
Yeah.
It
They're
is.
going to have a lot of ideas about what to do with these. I think we're going to hold off on this one for another mailbag, so we're going to put a pin in this. So,
Sure.
Megan, why don't you roll this D6? Because we have 3 additional questions beyond the D20 table.
5.
5. All right, so number 23.
Number 23? Okay, all right. Do sorcerers require spell components, besides the one that they have a monetary value? And if they do, how would they even find out what materials they need for their certain spells? So I'm assuming this comes from the idea that sorcerers' magic is inherently theirs.
It's innate.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
Innate magic.
naturally theirs. They don't require spell components, whereas wizards require items to do their magic because it's learned and it's schooled.
They still need spell components. They
Yeah.
just don't have to learn it, right?
Yeah.
So how would they know that, hey, when I'm holding this item and saying these words, does this work?
Yeah, I like the idea that, like, even though you're inherently magical, doesn't mean you know how to use your
Yeah.
magic. So I feel like as you're developing and growing as a person and as a character, you would then learn, okay, well, if I hone this in using these items, this can pop off. You don't necessarily know what your magic does until you experiment with it, right? And I think that's the whole part of the components is you're like, as long as I have this book or this item or this feather with me, I know I can do this spell
In
appropriately.
the same way that somebody can learn carpentry by just playing with wood a lot.
Yeah.
Or-
That's not what I learned.
Hey,
Or you can go through the route of an apprentice.
I learned a lot playing with wood, I will say that.
And it's always pleasurable.
Not always, but
Sometimes you end up with a big
Depends
sticky
on your
mess.
kink, you know?
Too much glue.
It's sap. It's too much sap.
Too much
Too much
sap.
sap.
It just leaks right out.
you know, as Canadians, it's too much maple syrup sometimes. It's okay.
No such thing. Heathen.
Ew. You tape it.
Please leave him out of this.
That's how I would utilize the spell.
So
component. Makes sense.
this came up on the Discord, and I said I have some thoughts about this.
Oh, okay.
And my mind has been changed over the years, because I used to be in the team, sorcerers, everything is innate. They just know everything. They don't need any of it.
Yeah.
And over time, and having played a sorcerer recently, I've come to the realization that a sorcerer doesn't necessarily know or study their magic, but it doesn't mean that they don't mess around with the components, right?
Yeah, they still have to figure it out.
They still have to figure it out. And it also doesn't mean that a sorcerer can't be taught magic in the same way as a wizard.
Exactly.
They can still be told, hey, if you take these things together, you can do this spell. However, it's going to take them some screwing around with it.
Yeah.
It's not going to be sitting in a classroom reading the book.
I think about it like sports, right? Where you have your really perfect technical players that have honed their technique and done it really well. And then you have the completely unathletic Babe Ruth, who's this overweight guy that can just hit fucking home runs.
Yeah.
Right? He just does it. And he does it by looking at it and trying it over and over and over again until, hey, I got pretty fucking good at this.
I can just do
Right?
it.
I just go, right? It's like there's
natural athleticism, and then there's studied, trained athletes.
Yeah, and that's how I think about it with sorcerers. Like, I think about it like a baby holds a rattle and shakes it for the first time, and then is surprised that this fucker made noise.
Yeah.
Right? And then shake it again and go, oh shit, if I do this over and over, it can make noise.
Now I can play it like an instrument,
Yeah,
and then it goes on and on and on.
It's the same thing. Like, I picked up this raven feather because it landed on my doorstep one day, and I was so fucking mad that I picked it up and I went to throw it, and suddenly hail came out of the sky, and I'm like, what the fuck?
I need more raven feathers.
Yeah, and so...
I went and threw a rock at a raven, picked all the feathers off, and...
Okay, leave the raven out of this.
But like that's that kind of slowly working at it, figuring it out, and having the spell not pop off right the first time. Like, for example, if they're learning how to do firebolt the first time, they did it, and a handful of sparks just came from their fingertips. They went,
Pocket sand.
"Oh, what the shit is that?"
Yeah.
All right. Okay. What just happened? Let me try it again.
And if I try it these 1,000 ways, one of them's going to be the right way.
Yeah.
And just replicate that.
And for some reason in my mind, I know which one feels right. Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, and it's harder to roleplay at the table because you don't always have months or hours to practice this at the table.
Mm-hmm.
You hand wave it a little bit,
Yeah, like if you're level 6 sorcerer,
but
obviously
you can always
practice.
you have that head cannon, right?
That's fair. Before you roll, I have to pee.
Okay.
All right, well, we're not editing this episode, so Brad and I are just going to sit here and talk about Megan.
You know what? That's fine.
I think she's great.
You can talk about my depression. It's cool.
Wait, clinical?
So,
So.
you're DMing another campaign. You're
I
not
am.
enough episodes to talk about.
No, I know. We haven't had a chance to talk about
So,
this.
tell me about it.
So I am DMing a campaign that started with Minds of Fandelver, mostly new players. So it's my brother and my sister-in-law,
Okay.
Grady, another friend of mine from childhood,
Grady.
and a friend of his.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we started with Minds of Fandelver, went into Dungeons of the Mad Mage, and then I was like, you know what? No, this sucks. This is not the right group to bring into Dungeons of the Mad Mage. Pulled them out with the portal. They did some character backstory development work as we wandered through the forests.
Yeah.
And now I'm just about to wander them into my own homebrew twisted version of White Plume Mountain.
Okay, so my players are about to go into a mountain,
Yeah.
and they don't know that I've just reskinned White Plume Mountain.
That's exactly what I've done.
That's
as
exactly
well.
what I'm
It's
doing.
so good. Ever since the episode we recorded on that, I don't know when this is coming out in relation to that. We've got an episode that'll discuss this.
Yeah.
I am so stoked on that particular campaign.
Yeah, it's
That I did more reading after we recorded that episode. I'm like, no, I'm running the players through this. This is perfect for my group.
when you were talking about doing Lost Minds of Fandelver.
Yeah.
The new one, Fandelver.
I know it wasn't out in time. Otherwise, I probably would have gone there.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you can circle back and keep doing
absolutely.
it because there is a multiple level gap.
There. Yeah.
Like, in the very last bit, right? Where you're like level 12 and then suddenly level 17.
Right. Yeah.
Huge.
There's a good chance because they were really ticked that they missed the dragon.
Yeah.
So I
Head
do
on
want to
back,
bring them
like,
back.
Yeah, sure. That sounds
But
good.
it'll probably be on the way out of this module list, so long as they make it through.
All right. Hello, Megan. Welcome back.
Hi. Yeah, did it. Here we are.
All right. I'm going to roll. 6. Now it's a 6.
Now it's a 6.
We've got big lore and bestiary books on iconic D&D monsters such as Fizban's Treasury of Dragons and Bigby's Glory of the Giants, showing that these creatures are about more and getting up to more than we ever imagined. If we get another such book, what iconic monster or monster type should it be? Also, I'm pulling for Fae and more specifically hags, since they appear in nearly every adventure. Oh, shit. I remember when I saw this get asked, and I went, I have so many fucking thoughts, and then I just was thinking about it for days and days and days. Mm-hmm. And if I can be honest, the big ones that hit me right off the bat were hags, but I don't think you'll get a full book out of that, and frankly, we did just get Wild Beyond the Witchlight.
I was just going to say Wild Beyond the Witchlight gives you that hag flavor if you want it.
Yeah.
And Fae as well.
But it doesn't do that deep dive with a bunch of different versions of it.
It was setting specific.
Yeah,
sure.
we really could use a Fae book. I was thinking Beholders, but there's a lot of different kinds already, and Mind Flayers as well. And so I actually got to thinking that there is no good Goblin campaign in 5th edition.
Goblins and Orcs was my first instinct as well.
Right.
Take the two of those and put them together.
They're classics, but we don't get them.
They're all low-level fodder.
Yeah, like we get Drow and Out of the Abyss.
Yeah.
We get kobolds kind of littered throughout. They pop up all the time, but...
My answer was going to be more kobolds.
That's your answer for everything.
I
Yeah.
know, but like it's like...
Like Megan when it was for
we
Christmas.
got
More
dragons.
kobolds.
more kobolds.
We got
But, like,
dragons. They're just little dragons.
But I think it's time.
Talk to them.
Because again, you talk to your kobolds, you talk about the rich history behind them. Like, why don't we have like a whole campaign or a book specifically derived around kobolds? That's not just a simple module or a small one-shot someone has played. Mm-hmm. Like, and have different levels of kobolds, right? Like, they have a society. They operate in societal means. Like, why don't we have more kobold shit?
Well, we've got, 5, 6 different stat blocks for different kinds?
Yeah.
There's the winged kobolds, there's the inventor and the dragon's shield and the scale sorcerer.
Yep.
Like, we have some, but there's so much
Give me the
fucking-
dragon types versions of these kobolds.
Yeah, give me the black
'Cause we
ones and
homebrew them.
the
We talk-
green ones and
Can
the
we get some
copper
Can we
ones.
get some metallic kobolds?
Yes.
gem kobolds.
Gem kobolds, yeah.
Moonstone kobolds.
Yes.
There's no reason why we can't do
Because we
this.
homebrew them. We talk about them
Sure.
all the time
Yeah.
in the sense where, hey, if I'm playing this, in our dragon episodes,
Yep.
we talk about
All the
who are your
time.
minions, whatever. Like, kobolds always comes up. Why are we not talking more about what type of kobold it is and what they look like when they're offering themselves to a very specific god? That's just how I feel.
Yeah, that makes
on
perfect
board.
fucking sense, yeah.
Yeah.
I got my Giants book.
Yeah.
Give me a kobolds book.
I want more goblins and hobgoblins.
Yeah, and bugbears and
put
Verdan.
orcs in there
and-
too. Why not?
Yeah.
Right, you're dealing with like
If you do the, what is it? It's the Infinite War that's
Yeah.
on Archon, which is I think it's on Archon, where it's the every orc that's ever died in an eternal, everlasting battle against every goblinoid that's ever
Yeah.
died.
give us that book.
Give us that book. Like, let's see it. Like, you start off with the goblin side fighting the orcs, and then you end up joining the orcs to fight
You tell
the
me
goblins.
there's this eternal war and we can't have higher than CR2 on a goblin or... I
Yeah.
mean, we do have some higher ones, but you know what I mean, right?
I mean,
There's
frankly,
some high-level goblin and orc enemies.
I think the right answer, like, all of these are good answers. I think the right one is an appropriate book about fiends and celestials.
Give me
give
demons.
Celestials have not gotten any service in D&D.
Demons, devils, Yugoloths, and the celestials.
Yeah.
Let's look at this good versus evil fight.
Yeah.
I like demons.
Do you like demons or devils?
Yes.
Yeah, you like fiends.
I like all of
I like a good fiend.
I like a good feed.
With fiends like these, who needs enemas? So
Ooh.
Oh.
Sometimes you just need a good clean out.
Wow.
let's roll.
Let's roll another die. My turn. Ooh. That will be another 6. Let's try that again. 18 we've had.
Yep,
All right. 5
we've had.
we've had. Let's just do number 7. Oh, actually, this is Kyle and others. We're going to skip number 7 and say that for a Kyle episode.
All right, then
His
here,
name
roll
is
the
in it.
d6 to find out.
Oh, I gotta
Gotta get
get it in the hole. 6.
So we did that. So 22.
Oh boy. All right, 22.
Okay.
In order to make initiative better during a session, what are your thoughts about this homebrew rule? When a player rolls a nat 20 for initiative, the nat 20 allows the player to choose when they can go in the order for the whole combat encounter. The catch is the DM can use this rule as well for monsters. So I assume you just choose your point in the initiative order when you roll 20?
Yeah. Your
Yeah.
question will pop
I mean-
off first.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of can do that anyways. If you're first in the initiative order, you can defer. Like you kind of
Well,
have, but then I guess you're permanently deferring, right?
Yeah,
You're permanently down the list. So maybe just this turn you want to move down.
In 5th edition, is deferring a thing, or is it just
No,
writing an
no,
action
no.
and moving forward?
No, yeah, you
Yeah,
hold
I
an
guess.
action,
Yeah.
which means you don't get your movement
right.
or your bonus
And
action.
it doesn't change your place in the
yeah,
order.
Next
I'm
round
so
you get back up.
I clearly use homebrew Pathfinder rules on my table and don't even realize I'm doing it
I
anymore.
just wanted a well actually moment.
Yeah,
That's
no,
all I-
absolutely. Thank you for pointing that out. I'm not going to change the way I do it. So apparently I already homebrew my initiative to basically do that.
I'm about it. I like that idea because I feel like we don't reward 20s and punish nat 1s as much as a lot of DMs can. And I don't know. I think there is no downside to it because I feel like at the table, your table's going to discuss what they want to do anyways.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, because there is a mechanic in other campaigns, like in other games, like in Alpha of our Call of Cthulhu, all those kinds of things, that help you choose where you go in your initiative order. Like to your point in previous D&D, like there have been options
in Pathfinder, you could just defer and say, I want to go after this person.
So that obviously the mechanic exists for a reason.
Yeah.
And like I don't mind that idea because it's like rewarding to be like, I have a nat 20, you have a hot second to battle strat. It's almost like giving them that sneak attack.
Yeah,
right?
you're like, hey, let's set up. I want to set this up so that you can go and deliver a blow.
Yeah.
Right. I had, in the campaign I'm playing in right now, one of the players threw, in Dan's campaign, this piece of black glass that has all sorts of magical properties. And my sorceress, she rolled a nat 20 to throw it, and then on my turn I rolled a nat 20 to snipe it. And had some super cool effect based on the dice rolls.
Yeah.
But it was only possible because we coordinated our attacks. So it makes sense to be able to do that with initiative.
Yeah. I feel like the only thing that I think a couple of DMs would be like about is that a lot of
I'm sorry,
DMs...
they would be like, what? That's what I thought you said. Spell that.
Yeah.
Did you use E-I-E-I-O and then fail?
E-I-E-I-O.
Yeah.
Hide the initiative order for the surprise attack that comes from their monsters. And then eventually you just learn what the initiative order is. So in other games and other like things that aren't D&D, the initiative order is known. It is written down, everyone can see it, and it can shuffle throughout the game based on what you want to do.
Most DMs
I
make
run it
know
that
as
way
well.
anyway.
I'll let you guys know.
But I've been in campaigns where they keep it hidden.
Yeah.
And, like, that's their ability to kind of infiltrate where they want their monsters to go. And I don't necessarily agree with that way. Other DMs do that. I'm not shaming
If the players can't do it, I'm not doing it as a DM.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think it will have to go both ways. That if I roll a 20 as a DM, I can now place that monster wherever the fuck I want to.
Well, I look at it this way as well. I tend to have in my head, you know how layer actions pop off at initiative count 20?
Yeah.
Right? So it's at initiative count 20, but it always loses to any other character, right? Mm-hmm. I also have that for 15, 10, and 5. And I don't know if you guys realize this, but every time that we're playing and another enemy enters the battlefield or a new encounter bit pops off, like we just had a pirate ship get lifted up into the air. Megan missed this session.
I did.
So it got lifted up into the air by a bunch of cloud giants. And they were 500 feet up in the air when Tiamat hit and started killing the cloud giants.
Oh, lovely.
And they dropped the ship. And so every round, the ship rotated on its axis so that on the third round, it was upside down. Right? And so the idea was that as they're trying to bail out of the ship, it's moving, everything's difficult terrain. If you try to get out while it's upside down, it's falling faster than you are, so you're slammed against the deck, crawling across it as it's rotating. So it was really dynamic and interesting, but it was moving at initiative count 10.
Right.
So I do all this shit anyway, right? But to allow players to choose, why not? They do it once. It doesn't change anything for me as a DM.
You know, if anything, they're going later in the initiative, so what does it really matter?
I mean, the only time that's going to matter is if you have an assassin in the group.
Sure.
Because their assassin shit pops off if they are going before certain enemies.
Yes.
Right? So, but even then...
But they rolled nat 20 on initiative. Congratulations, you get to use the cool features that are part of your class.
Yeah, like, I'm for it. Like, go nuts.
Yep, I like it.
You're up, Megan.
My turn? Let's get this dice out of here.
Back to black.
Yeah, man. 1.
we did it.
I rolled that one time. 15. I'm rolling the same numbers I had rolled. 16. Did we do that?
Nope, we don't...
All right, here we go. What is your favorite single monster to throw at a party?
So many options.
The Lost.
Oh, the Sorrow Sworn?
Yep, the Sorrow Sworn, that whole kit and caboodle. I'm loving them right now.
Did you use them in your...
I did. And I'm not going to lie, I used the Adam, hello?
Yes. Yes.
And they fucking died. And like to this point, to this day, when I asked like them for like their feedback on it, they're like, the fact that I'll never look at hello the same ever again, and I'm just like, you're welcome.
Yay.
But yeah, so the Sorrow Sworn is like, and anything undead right now is kind of like my favorite thing in the world, and it's partially because of the Undead series that we're doing with the ladies group, but like, the Sorrow Sworn, the Lost, all of them, I'm loving it. I'm loving them to death.
I don't know. Okay, so low-key, my favorite single monster to use ever, and I don't know why, it's just classic, is the Roper. And I don't use it because everyone's always expecting it in my campaigns now.
Yeah.
So Ropers and Mimics and Dark Mantles and Piercers, none of these things. If it has false appearance, I don't use it because I've got too many players that are poking at it going, why? Why is there a cloak hanging there? What's with the stalagmites? What's with the stalactites? What's with the random chest over it? Like, nobody fucking buys it anymore.
Yeah.
So, but I do love it. And Ropers are so fun. So I have successfully completely reskinned them so that they're tentacle monsters, or they look like something else and tentacles come out of it. And so, like, it's not just the one classic.
So you got a tentacle kink is what you're telling us.
Yeah, pretty much.
Don't we all?
I mean,
No.
Brad lied to the rest. Yeah.
I'm not kink shaming. I'm just saying we don't all have the same.
The narrator in the background, he indeed does have a tentacle.
I've got one around my ankle right now.
For Brad, that was the tip of the iceberg.
That was the tame stuff. It doesn't even count as a kink.
I'm getting the flashbacks of when he was 12 years old.
My toilet's so cute.
Lord, no.
Can I roll this die, please?
Yes, please.
What did I get?
13. Did
We
that
done
one.
it.
Yeah, we done it. Okay.
Good at that point.
18.
Done it.
Hey, this was fun rolling.
14.
14, yay.
Yeah.
Running, Tomb of Annihilation. What creative ways could I foreshadow major plot points and characters? Serac, Sown Sisters, Rest and See. I don't know Tomb of Annihilation well enough.
And I have not run it.
You know who does is Dan.
Yeah.
So, what do we get? Kyle, Dave, and Dan
Dan.
should be on the next one. There
Yeah.
we go. All right, good enough. So, I'm going to roll the d6.
I was going to say I like a Sarah because he's a lich. That's nice. Okay, moving on.
Actually, I don't even need to roll it because I'll just do the last one that's above 20.
Yeah.
And that is, when will anyone on the show or the general internet use the correct term for pass without trace?
Do we do that
Never.
wrong?
Yeah.
Never. It's Matt Mercer's fault, and we
What did
all
we
blame
say?
him. And now,
Pass without a trace.
Without a trace.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be pass without trace?
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. As a matter of fact,
Oh, pass without trace is right. Then I do use it correctly.
I was today years old when I learned that I was saying that wrong.
Whereas I thought I was suddenly being called out for using it wrong. I use pass without trace. I don't use pass without a trace.
I have said pass without a trace for a long ass time. It's one of those ones that I had another DM start saying it, and it got just into my vocabulary the wrong way. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, we said, and then I taught everyone on the podcast Mordenkainen when it's Mordenkainen, because I learned that from a DM who mispronounced that. Or Dan.
I still to this
It's
day
like
do
any
Mordenkainen.
mispronunciations, though, right? It's where. How did you learn the word? In fact, I will never make fun of somebody who mispronounces a word because they usually pick it up from reading or from someone else.
And you don't shame
Or
anybody.
corrected. I'm not afraid of being corrected.
no.
In any way, shape, or form. Correct me. I don't care. Because I will still say Mordenkainen.
Sure.
And Tomb versus Tome. And that one's the one that I get Casey on a regular basis.
Yeah.
You're not.
I would call you out on that one because those are two very different words.
They
and
are,
it's important.
but I call Casey out on a regular
James
basis.
gets it wrong every single time as well,
Yeah.
and I have done some hilarious creative editing around some of the. But the other one that we that consistently gets wrong in the podcast is every time we talk about Kuatoa, Dan has to bring up their god, and the god's name is Blipdulpoop, but he always calls it Blipdulipdip. And I'm like, that is not at all what it is. He just gave up trying to pronounce it.
I support that. That is a mindset I support.
It is a bullshit word. Don't get me wrong, but like he gets it so wrong.
Just try, Dan.
I mean, intentionally wrong, I support.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 left. Hey, you know what? Let's swap to a D8 and just start counting our way down.
Okay,
Sounds
sure.
good.
So,
I'm up.
That's you.
A 1.
Okay.
So that'll be number 2, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, in all that massive pile of research y'all did, if you could pick 5 stat blocks to act as templates to reskin to provide your players with any mount they could want, what would they be? And that was yours and I's episode.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to pop off on this?
I have some thoughts on this.
Yeah, sure, you go
I'm not
first.
just going to pick, like, what is the mount that they actually want, right?
And
My players are going
that's
to tell
the
me
thing.
what they want.
Yeah.
And I am going to look at the mounts that are available. One of my players picked a fucking giant kangaroo as their mount. I said, you know what? Screw it. Yes, I will use the stag stat block.
Like, are they sitting in the pouch, or are they like...
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I had a player who wanted to ride a dire ram.
Yep.
So this thing was essentially like a bantha from fucking Star Wars, right? And so he wanted to ride it, and I said, "Great, I'll use a mammoth stat block."
Yep.
The deal being, it is not going to be able to attack in combat
Correct.
because it's such
Yeah.
a huge creature.
Yeah. And
So so you just find the nearest one.
Yeah.
Honestly, my correct answer is whatever you pick, give it more hit points than it deserves.
Yes.
Because you don't want it to die.
Yeah.
So
Buff it out a little bit, but whatever there is no kangaroo stat block. I had to improvise. I went with giant elk, but I also gave it the ability to leap further, right? So instead of...
all right, why are you laughing?
Because all I can think in my head is anytime I've ever had a mount in the campaign, it's been another player. And, like, that's a weird way to say that.
We're back
We're back to mounting players.
Yeah, we're back to Lord Soth.
Wait, was it a player or was it a character?
It was a
I need to clarify.
It was a player character.
Were you mounting players or
But
characters?
it's usually because I play small creatures or human-like characters.
Yeah.
So
Well,
usually small and small.
To be fair, your character rode my character in that one shot.
Yeah.
Right?
So like,
yeah.
I tend to ride player characters as my mounts.
Hodor.
I mount
Yeah,
player characters.
I'm not kink shaming. I'm just getting clarification. But
At this point, is that even a kink, or is that just
No.
a preference?
No.
it's a preference. Yeah. So all that to say, don't use the specific stat block for reskinning. Look at what it's being reskinned to and pick something that's appropriate.
That's
Sure.
fair.
All right.
Megan, D8.
Megan, D8.
Anything but a 1.
A 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So number 10.
No, number 7.
Number 7.
Because we're going to include, because we're going to...
Oh, no, this is one we skipped because it's got
Because
Kyle
that's
in
Kyle and others.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So I'll do the next one down,
Sure.
which is 10.
Yeah.
D&D is about making decisions sometimes. It's the dungeon we don't go in that haunts us. What moment in a campaign did you, the player, not seize upon? Did you not do it because it seemed dumb or because your character wouldn't even though you, the player, wanted to? So there is a moment that I will always remember, and I believe it was Adam's campaign, or it was Dan who was DMing at the time, where there was a cave we were supposed to go in, and my character, and I think it was also Mieka's character, that said, nope, and we fucked off.
Yep.
This should be more of a question for DMs because the players don't give a shit about the stuff they skipped. It's the DMs who have to live with the nightmare of I spent hours or weeks preparing this, and the players just said nope.
But that's the thing, is I knew after like a while that after of having this interaction, doing this thing, that this was definitely where we were supposed to go, and I just hard stop noped it as a player, and then I was like, "You probably built a fucking map for that, did you not?"
Mm-hmm.
It is still living in one of my little map containers, because by God, someday they're going to go into a fucking cave.
Yeah, and I just remember that moment. It was us making that final decision as a group after it was my player that decided I'm not doing that. I'm not going in there.
I want you to know, do you want to know how I handled that as the DM?
Yeah.
They then almost immediately met an NPC who was just bigger than life and totally fucking wild, so that everyone could have to suffer through this guy for a little while as I pulled shit out of my ass for the next 2 hours.
Yeah.
That's
Right, I stalled with a bigger than life NPC. I'm never a player.
I just stick them in front of a locked door. That gives me an hour at least.
I love. Okay, I did that in my camp. Like my Sunday game, I put them in front of a door. It's the best thing you can do to kind of think about what the next step is.
Here's my favorite like time waster, and you'll only ever use it once on a party on this group of players for the rest of their lives. So what you do is you put in this room, it is pitch black, and it's only when the door closes that the lights come on and you can see.
Right.
So it's magical darkness.
Yep.
Once the lights come on, and when the door is closed, it says, "Do not press this red button." That right there will stall the campaign for a good solid hour or so.
Oh no, not if I'm a player in it. I am instantly pushing that red button.
Right, and I do have those players.
Yeah.
And when that happens, a voice comes on, a woman's voice from nowhere goes, 5, 4, 3.
I live for those moments as a
2.
player.
And so so then what do? Well, you press the button again, and every time you press it, it starts again. 5, 4, and it won't get to 0 unless they decide to just not press the button. So they will sit there and keep pressing it until they figure out what they're doing, talking with everybody else around the table. And what happens is when it hits 0, the door opens.
All right.
That's it. That's the only thing.
That's
it. There's nothing else in that room.
I love that.
So, no, the thing that they missed, the thing that my fucking players missed, I gave them the ability to do whatever they wanted in town for 300 days. We covered it in a couple of sessions. Sure. And then after that, you guys were essentially joined the town watch.
Yep.
Right? And so you guys are part of the Crimson Guard, but you guys are now the Celestial Guard, which is a part of it, and your own like little unit. And you were given 3 or 4 options every single session. What do you want to do this session? Here are the 3 or 4 potential missions. And right from the very first one, the sewers are backing up. There's something that's wrong. The kobolds have all left, and nobody knows what's going on. We need someone to go down there and deal with it.
We never did.
They never did. We did this 8 sessions in a row, and every time...
they picked something else.
Every time. The stench is getting worse. The NPCs are getting upset. Yeah. The sewers are backing up. This is bad. There are now myconids in the lower tunnels. And the sewers are backing up. Things are getting worse.
Even to the sanitation department.
And so they just never, ever dealt with it.
Nope.
The shit that I have down there, ready for them, is so much fucking fun. And at this point, they've been away from the city so long that I either have to destroy the city or just have NPCs handle it.
Right.
Right? And so, like, unfortunately, we'll never know.
Yeah.
And I will save that for a future campaign.
Yeah, put it in the next one.
But I was so ready to just take my level 5 party into the sewers for about 3 sessions. It was going to be so much fun.
Never went.
Never went.
We said, hey, Adam, fuck you. And we never went.
That sounds about right.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've done that to Dan. He's the only person I've ever had DM for me.
Yeah.
Aside from our little one shot of...
Yeah.
So. But I know I've definitely done that to him. All right, your turn there, Adam.
D8.
That's a 1 again.
God. At least we're consistent. That's a 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Top 5 songs.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, Jesus. I don't know.
I listen to kids' songs now in the car.
I'm going to say, you have a very different ideal of...
Yeah. That said, my favorite band right now is Polyphia. So anything from them.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I listen to movie soundtracks.
Yeah, me too.
As a hobby.
A lot, yeah.
So I'm going to list my top favorite movie soundtracks. Queen of the Damned.
Yes.
Wow,
solid.
yeah.
Yeah, very good.
The new Spider-Man films, like the animated ones.
Oh, yeah, like into the... Yeah.
Yeah, phenomenal. The Labyrinth, because David Bowie.
Naturally.
What else do we got? What else is on my thing? Silent Hill from a video game. I listen to that soundtrack on a regular basis.
So good.
Yeah. And what would be my 5th?
Not a Final Fantasy track?
Weirdly enough, no.
There's just nothing but bangers on Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah.
Like, it's just great all the way through.
So
I will still find myself humming Kefka's theme, and I haven't played that game in 20 years.
well, I talked to Roman about that then, because you guys could share that. But like, we just recently saw a musical Hades Town, and I'm currently obsessed.
Did you go?
We went.
Oh,
we saw it.
That's that's on her to-do list. Is
I
it in
cried
Vancouver
the whole
right now?
time. It was. It's gone now.
Fuck.
It was only had like 5 or 6 showings, but I cried the whole time. I was like a little girl. Like.
That is
awesome.
her fucking jam.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, Miek, if you're listening to this, I'm about to spoil your Christmas present, so turn it off. All right. So she's a big fan of Lore Olympus. Are you familiar with this? It's a comic strip that is essentially the story of the Greek gods, but primarily Persephone and Hades.
Yep.
And to the point where she actually like subscribes and pays for it to get to do it. I have bought her for Christmas the 5 tomes.
No, you didn't.
Well, I've gotten her the first 2 already, and so it's the last 3.
Oh,
so
Adam.
she like I just spent like $80.
She's gonna be so happy.
She's gonna be thrilled.
Miyake, you're such a lucky lady.
So.
God damn it.
Let me see. I don't know, Brad. What's your?
You actually, now that you mention like movie soundtracks and things like that, I will almost always while I'm working have some version of Lord of the Rings soundtracks on in the background.
Yeah, you can't lose with that, really.
It's always great. Same with the Star Wars soundtracks. Right now it's Christmas time, so I have the new Trans-Siberian Orchestra album on repeat for the holidays.
That's fair.
And then lots of kids' music, sadly.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, that's all right.
That's your life.
No,
it's
it's
fine.
not. They're all earworms, and they just live in there, and they're all terrible.
I'm legitimately trying to come up with my fucking 5 favorite songs of all time. Give me 1 sec. Do you guys have any more? Because I'm trying.
I mean, I'm
I'm
pulling
trying to
up.
think of other soundtracks that I
I'm
like.
pulling up what I've listened to most recently. Oh, Vince Guaraldi Trio, because it's Christmas time as well. The whole Peanuts Christmas thing. Weirdly, Darude Sandstorm was one that I had because in the
That's
gym
fair.
I need something that goes a little quicker. So
Yeah.
I will select that and then just have Apple Music build me a station based on that.
And I am a Billie Eilish fan because her and I have very similar voice tones. So I
Nice.
like screaming me a good Billie Eilish song. There is a playlist, this is for the ladies out there, which is basically called Edward Cullen, but only that scene where he wears the black rimmed glasses. Great soundtrack. It's on Spotify. Look it up. It's phenomenal. They did do a... Do you guys remember when... what is the fucking... Goddamn, why my brain? The D&D TV series that... Oh, Stranger Things. Why was that so hard for me to figure out?
Jesus Christ.
I know, jeepers fucking Christ.
Get off the podcast. You're done.
I know.
I haven't watched it.
On Spotify,
What?
you should watch it.
Jess doesn't do anything horror,
Great, watch it without me.
and I don't watch shows.
Tell her to
I play
fuck off.
games now.
You would legitimately like this.
So I watched the first 3 or 4 episodes when I was traveling out of town for work, and then I came home and I didn't watch it after
It just
that. and I
keeps
fell off.
keeps ramping. I can't believe you forgot the name of it, considering that Fan Expo is coming to Vancouver.
And Joseph Quinn is my husband. I know. Okay, I know. I know.
Called out.
So anyways, on Spotify, there is a playlist called Upside Down Playlist, and it takes your top 10 songs and puts it into a playlist for you, because the whole concept behind it is that the way to get away from Vecna is through your connection and emotional connection to music. And so it will take your top
Yeah.
and it will put it in
There you go.
in a playlist for you. And that's the song these are the songs that would play for you
Perfect.
if you were trying to get yourself away from Vecna. So you're welcome, D&D.
All right, so I came up with my top 5 list.
Throw it down.
This is not comprehensive. I'm sure I will be awake at 3 in the morning.
I mean, music
Fuck,
should-
and this, and this, and this.
Favorite
But-
songs change all the time.
But I will say, unequivocally, without fail, these are consistently in my top 10. In no particular order, because it does change. Nature Boy by Nat King Cole.
Throw it down.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Trial by Pink Floyd.
Okay.
Fuck yeah.
Painted Black, but
Yeah.
not the Rolling Stones version.
Yeah.
The instrumental one off Westworld.
Oh,
Ooh,
yes.
yeah, it's so good.
Yeah,
It's so
absolutely.
good.
As a matter of fact, I will put that sometimes on repeat.
Yep.
And D&D prep to it.
You could. Yeah.
Lateralis by Tool.
Okay, yeah.
And one that nobody knows, it's called Mr. Tanner by Harry Chapin, who's an old folk singer in the 70s. But he was the one that wrote Cats in the Cradle.
Oh, God.
But he wrote one called Mr. Tanner that my dad had this album, and he and I would go on road trips when I was younger, just him and I, and we would sing the whole album. But it was his favorite because the story is of a guy who's pretty damn good at singing, and all of his friends talk him into going to sing, and he spends his life savings to go actually rent a music hall in New York to go have the critics come out, and all of them say he's pretty mediocre, don't sign him. And so he comes home and never sings again.
Yeah.
Oh, heartbreaking.
And most of his songs are a gut punch.
Yeah.
But that one, I feel like there's a modicum of truth to that for my dad somehow, where he always wanted to be a singer or a piano player or something,
Right.
and never felt he was good enough. Yeah. And so now that my dad is dead, I think about that, right? And so it's probably the song that can consistently bring me to tears.
I was going to say, make you cry every time you listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I also go hunting for it about every 3 weeks. Or
Of course.
so, right?
Fair
so,
enough. Fair enough.
Sometimes you need that.
so those are like I've got a lot of like top songs, but those ones
Sure.
I will always stop and get everybody else in the room to shut the fuck up. I need to listen to this.
Give me a
right
minute.
now. So yeah.
I need a good cry.
Fair
So
enough.
all right, Brad.
All right, let's do it. We're down to 6. Should we grab a D6?
I think we're down to 5.
Down to 5, so D6 and number 2. What's the second one we haven't done?
I'll do number 3.
Number 3. Are there any other content creators, podcasts, YouTubers, actual plays, or any other media that you consume regularly? Oh boy. Yes, absolutely yes. I assume we're I mean, are we going to limit this to D&D, or are we going to make this a little more global?
Yeah, no. Dude, shoot your shot.
Just general media?
Just go. What
I
do you
mean,
got?
the big one is obviously for me, local boy, Linus Tech Tips. I love my computer tech stuff, based on a Langley. Good sense of humor. I just started, for D&D related content, I just started listening to Not Another D&D podcast from some of the crew over at College Humor. Pretty good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a decent one.
Sure.
I kind of rotate through Let's Plays. And then I'm really into like video game podcasts right now. So the Besties is one, and the other one I like is, and my favorite one right now is called Into the Aether. Low-key video game podcast is what their tagline is, and none of those really need a bump from me because they're all much, much bigger than us.
Everyone is, good sir. It's okay.
Yeah.
I don't listen to a lot of social media stuff to begin with.
Do you watch YouTube channels at all?
No, I was never a YouTube kid. I was never a podcast kid. I was never any of those things. The only podcast in this world that I will listen to and like seek out episodes for is the what is it called? It's like the No Sleep one.
Yeah.
I will listen to that for horror stories, and then I will listen to
Good D&D inspiration as well.
It's true. And then there are murder podcasts to listen to, like My Favorite Murder.
You are such a white girl.
I know. But I fucking love that podcast. They're so fucking hilarious. And like, they're the only ones that I fangirl over. Those girls.
Have you listened to Lore by Aaron Mahnke?
Oh,
No.
so
Fuck, it's up your alley.
Yeah.
You would like it. He sits
Yeah.
down and takes one piece of real life lore from somewhere in the world, and he deconstructs, like he rips
I
it all
need to
apart,
re-listen to that.
goes through
Oh, wow.
the entire history of this thing, and he breaks it down.
So
but
good.
some of it's even like current urban legends
Yes.
and shit too. Like it's not just like it's solid, and he does his
Yeah.
work, and it's an easy listen.
I need
That's
to go
fair.
back.
For D&D podcasts and D&D shows, I always feel kind of odd pitching some because it's a conflict of interest for us. But I will say this. I will tune in every once in a while to the Dungeon Cast,
Oh, sure.
but only on an episode that we are not going to cover or we've already covered.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to... They do very similarly what we do, where
Yeah.
they break down one thing, but they focus on the facts and not the inspiration for the most
Sure.
part. And so... they're a good piece of research or interest or whatnot if I need something in the background. Matt Colville is usually pretty good,
Yes.
but I have started to take umbrage with some of his tips and tricks. They work for him. They don't work
Yeah.
for everybody, right? And
That said, I did buy his new set of books.
yeah, me
That's
too.
fair.
The
So,
moment they released on pre-order.
and so did I. And I have both Kingdoms of Warfare and
Yeah.
Strongholds of Followers on my shelf. I've talked about the Gemstone Dragons from
Yeah.
his book. Like, I really do like what he provides, but at this point, we're deviating from 5th edition too far. So,
That's fair.
but he's making his own tabletop
Yeah.
role-playing game. Let him, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm into it. So,
Yeah.
what else do I listen to? I listen to a podcast called Man Enough, which is not for everybody. I will say right off the bat, it is a podcast that deconstructs what it means to be a man in 2023, and
I'm going to pee while you talk about this.
sure, it looks solidly at different people, sometimes celebrities that they get in as well, talking about how they grew up to be the man they are today and what toxic traits they've had in the past and how they overcame them. And it's not for everybody. It's a little extreme sometimes, and it's super, super, super progressive with a capital P.
Yeah.
To the point where even I have some trouble. Like, I'll side eye the speakers
Sure.
sometimes, but like, what else do I listen to? I listen to the Behind the Bastards because it's always a good, hilarious look at the monsters of history.
Yeah.
And right now I'm working through Quick Question, which is a couple of the old guys from the old Cracked site back when it was good.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so my two favorites were Soren and Daniel, and they're doing it. The whole premise is that that show's about nothing. They do a weekly call with each other just to check in. They record it and it becomes a podcast. So,
Perfect.
yeah, so that's just me. They're a comfort listen to.
Yeah.
As far as YouTube, there's nothing really that stands out. I will tend to do like retrospectives and breakdowns, like 2-hour-long videos about this entire series
Absolutely.
that I watched 20 years ago that I just don't have the time to watch it again. What's the last thing that you watched on, like, your last television show that you watched?
Like on regular TV or like millennial Netflix XYZ?
Yeah. Like the last thing you sit down to binge watch. What was your last thing?
Grey's Anatomy.
New Girl.
Really?
Yeah.
I just did Scavenger's Reign and Primal. I feel like they're the same thing.
Yeah.
They're very, very... Primal's so fucking good.
Okay, well, here's the thing, though. I rewatch Grey's Anatomy every Christmas. It's like my holiday.
Your holiday show.
I will sit and watch it because it's like a good background show when I just don't want to use my brain.
Yeah.
But the most recent one that I watched that was not that was Yellow Jackets.
Is that good? I heard it went off the rails.
Holy mother of God!
My sister-in-law is actually a location scout on that project.
Fuck,
Yeah.
it's so good. It's like...
You haven't steered me wrong yet. I just finished Midnight Mass 3 nights ago.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
But no, this one is basically Lord of the Flies, but a group of girls.
A soccer team.
And it's so good.
Women's soccer team crash.
I
Airplane
cried
crash in
in
the
every
mountains.
episode they did. And it took me a long time to get through it.
Yeah.
But I highly recommend it. Anyways, why are we talking about shows right now? How did that happen?
Well, it was just like what
media.
media.
We're
Yeah.
Media in
consuming.
general, okay.
I mean, if we're talking general media, the last thing I actually watched would have been Muppet Christmas Carol because I have to watch that every Christmas.
Do you guys have regular Christmas must-watches?
Muppet Christmas Carol is the only must-watch, and then I have a few other like seasonal favorites. Charlie Brown Christmas as well as a must-watch.
My brother and I watch Die Hard.
Yeah,
Every Christmas Eve that we are together, we watch Die Hard. There's off years and on years because now everybody has their respective families they go to. But my brother and I are together on like Christmas Eve with my father. We'll usually watch Die Hard. And then my mom's is, what is it called? Love Actually. That's my mom's.
That's a lot of people's, and I'm always like, it's everything in that is so problematic.
Problematic
So
as
problematic. But it's cute to watch.
It's best if you don't think about it.
Yeah.
No,
we don't
you're
think
not
about
wrong.
using our employees as sexual
Yeah.
gratification tools.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
Anyway, Charlie and I get together about every 3 years or so and watch Gremlins.
Yeah.
So that's a rewatch. I have to do It's a Wonderful Life. That's me.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And my mom every year does the old Alistair Sim Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right?
yeah.
So like the old black and white one
Yeah.
that is so stylized it's almost a play. Mm-hmm. And I will watch the shit out of that. I don't know what it is. I find it transfixing. And I have since I was like 8.
It's like my wife and her
True.
grandmother with White Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cute. No, I remember like when my brother and I were young and we would have that week off before Christmas when you were kids. My brother and I would literally go through my dad's VHS collection and pick out 15 or 20 films that we were going to watch during that time frame.
You're not allowed to watch anything off the top shelf.
And like we would just, it was mostly Star Trek, but we would just like rotate through
Everybody's
the
got
movies.
their kink.
But like my brother and I were always obsessed with natural disaster movies. So Volcano, Dante's Peak.
That was me.
Twister.
That was me and my
Twister.
dad. Every time we saw 2012, we saw Skyscraper,
Yeah.
we saw what was the San Andreas. Like he was excited. It was announced. Moonfall was announced before he died. We never got to saw it, and he was like, "I've heard it is the worst piece of shit." out
probably.
there. But he and I watched The Core more times than I can fucking count. It is so bad.
The theme song at the end of the core
It's so good.
is so good.
Every individual part of that movie, except the plot,
Yeah.
is so good.
Honestly, that movie is a fun watch, though. It's terrible,
is.
but it is undeniably fun.
It's basically like I don't know.
It is not a good movie, but it is a fun movie.
I remember when my dad lost his leg and he was in the hospital for like 7 months.
Yeah.
He had a small laptop and I would bring him USB sticks so he could watch shit on it, right?
Yeah.
And I have a folder on, like, I ended up getting like a 1 terabyte drive and I loaded it up with just episodes of MASH, episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation, and every fucking disaster movie from the Poseidon Adventure and Towering Inferno to The Day After Tomorrow. Everything I could
Fantastic.
find went into that. And like even stuff like Daybreak, which is a Sylvester Stallone movie where they're trapped in a subway system. Like nobody's heard of this fucking movie. I found it and I got it for him, and he enjoyed the shit out of him.
Good.
And every day I'd call him if I wasn't going to visit him. I'd call him and I'd be like, "Hey, what did you watch today?" And he would give me a play-by-play.
Fantastic.
So like it was, I love disaster.
Core
movies.
memories.
Yeah.
Megan's up.
That was Megan.
Me? Okay, let me bring out my
Hold
list.
on. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 left.
Okay.
3 of them we've bypassed on, which is Kyle and others.
We did the first one we bypassed, which was the
Yeah.
Infernal Machines.
Okay, so there are 2 left. There's one for Megan and one for me. So here, flip a coin. Number 11 or number...
Heads is 11, tails is 12.
No,
Or whatever.
it's 4, I think.
Heads is 11.
Heads is 11? What the fuck kind of coin is this? Okay, it's tails.
Sure. Okay, so you got number
The other
4.
one.
I can do number 4?
Yeah.
Okay. If y'all are tasked with writing an adventure whose primary purpose was to walk a new DM through learning how to be a good DM to brand new players, what would that look like? For example, start with explaining session 0 and character creation, what's important to helping players create characters, questions and backstories, etc. Start the adventure in a way that explains hooks, what makes them good, and gives multiple options. Run a small encounter that teaches combat.
This is a whole episode.
It is.
It really is. But, like, if I was to... So, weirdly enough, this is something that Roman and I have been talking about because he's trying to do it for L5R.
Okay.
And I feel like you can do it for D&D as well. He's basically building a campaign that is how to play L5R for new players.
Yeah.
I feel like you could do that for a DM.
I mean, we've got Lost Minds.
Yeah,
that are-
really
We also
good
have
step
Dragons
to
of
that.
Stormwreck
And-
Isle,
yeah.
which is really good. There are a lot of level 1 to 3 adventures.
Yeah.
That's the thing. D&D, 5th edition, 4th edition, all of them have modules that are available for you as a new DM at beginning level for you to teach you how to play this game.
But the problem with it is that they don't teach you some of the hardcore mechanics in order. Like,
Yeah.
they just assume that you're going to know cover, light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They assume that you've
Shit
read
like
the
that.
whole DM.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you start off simple. Of course, you meet in a tavern so that we establish role-playing before combat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Then you leave the tavern so that you can establish exploration before combat.
Yeah.
But you have to do combat by the end of the first session.
Absolutely.
You do, because I think the thing about D&D specifically is that it is combat heavy. Not necessarily inherently built that way, but like it is built to have creatures and monsters and things like that you can fight and kill.
But it absolutely is built that way because when you look at the classes and the way that they're built, 90% of the stuff is combat-related
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
So if you never run if there's never a combat session in a campaign, your champion fighter
Doesn't
has gone
mean
to
anything.
waste. But if you never run role-playing, your champion fighter's still fine.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
true of almost every single
Character, yeah.
not
you're
even just
right.
not even just subclass, but like power.
Power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the
Every
way through.
ability.
Yeah, until you get to like mastermind rogue and shit. Like there's
Yeah.
some, but
There are some.
I just feel like there's no way to teach a DM how to DM because we're all going to do it differently. Everyone's going to find something else more important. I do agree with that. You're going to have to hit the very specific pillars. So if I was to sit a new DM down, I would talk about the 3 pillars
yeah.
and be
Absolutely.
like, in every session, try and hit all 3 in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't have to be equal.
No.
I think is the piece that a lot of DMs try and find the mistake in, that they try and find an equal amount of roleplay, an equal amount of exploration, equal amount of fighting. No, sometimes it's like 5 minutes to 10 minutes of roleplay, a solid 40-minute long battle that ends with exploration because something popped off. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be even. Like, it doesn't have to be balanced, but you do want to hit all 3
My
at
poor
some
players
point.
have been in role play and exploration for like 6 sessions.
Yeah.
Not because I haven't given them opportunities for combat, because every time they've taken a direction, it's been going away from combat, and I feel so bad.
Yeah. But, like, here's the thing. Like, I just did this role-playing, this D&D campaign this last Sunday with this group of people that have not played D&D in a while. I have not DM'd D&D in a while. I DM'd L5R and I've played a lot of L5R, so I went back to D&D. But I've played a bit of D&D. But going back into the DM shoes for a hot minute, I struggled with NPCs.
Mm-hmm.
I struggled with bringing out the personality of that NPC, and I struggled with making them different enough and doing my descriptions the way that I would want to.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the things that I took for myself to be like, okay, I felt this was chunky. The next time I played these is where I'm going to focus on to make sure that feels a little bit more solid. So it's you learn by doing.
So I have actually thought about this before, and but I didn't do it for a campaign. I did it for a podcast where we did the very first thing we did was 5 very short episodes on Meet the DMs because this is your session 0.
Yeah.
Then we did 3 episodes each on the 3 pillars because it's important to introduce those early.
Yeah.
And then I focused on lore first because that's important.
Yeah.
And we ran this method for the first 3 years where it was always lore, then world building,
And monster.
then 2 classes or with
Right.
subclasses.
I forgot what the class episodes.
Yeah, then monsters, then DM tips, and then a dragon.
Yeah.
And then on those 7 episodes on repeat. Eventually, the world building turned into DM tips and
Yeah.
the campaign builder, and so we plugged the races in there because it's just more lore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you have to set your setting first, so that's the world building, the lore, the races. Like this is your setting. Then your characters come next. Who are they playing and why? And we started off with barbarian and bard because big fighter, like big fighty class,
And
big role play, right? Like so, those ones were the first 2 that we did. The first monster we did was orcs because that's the easy one.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone has a touchstone because everyone knows what an orc is. World of Warcraft made that common knowledge.
Yeah.
And then we did campaign building, and then the simplest of dragons, which was we did a dragon intro. What are dragons? And then white dragons, right? That was a simple one.
Yeah.
And we extrapolated and built very slowly from there over 3 years to make the conversation bigger and broader. And because Terry didn't know a whole lot of lore back then, and Dan was coming off of previous edition lore and had a lot of the facts wrong.
Yeah.
And so I was doing a lot of this research, and we would argue and we would fight and we would try to find the right way to make this work until we hit about year 3 and we had settled. We knew what the rhythm was. We know how to do this. Not just podcasting, but what is this conversation actually
What
looking
does it
like?
sound like?
Which is why at this point they can ask us questions and we can say, hey, we want a book about kobolds.
Yeah.
Episode 17, we wouldn't have been able to tell you that,
No.
right? So this is like, we're such a seasoned group now that is, I mean, everybody that's a thing. I think you probably know more about Celestials, Brad, than Megan does, and Megan knows more about undead than you do. But
hell of a lot more.
And giants.
And giants. Good
Giants
Lord.
and undead are kind of my thing.
Yeah.
They're death giants in your future.
I know. I'm so
So-
stoked.
So like it's just interesting because I have had to think that way. How do we introduce not just the people playing, but like an audience to D&D grow with us?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we did that. That was how the podcast's going to go. And if you go back and listen to those early episodes, they're fucking rough because we're learning how to podcast. We have just the worst jokes. We go off on bullshit tangents.
Good thing we don't do any of that anymore.
Well, we tend to save it for these episodes, right? Like,
Yeah.
at this point, we've got the people that like Casey and Kyle and Peps. They write a script and they fucking stick to it.
Yeah.
Right. And then you've got Megan who flies by the seat of her pants on.
Excuse me. I write things.
I have never seen your notes. They write it into the breakdowns. I never see your notes.
No, I never do.
So yeah, so that's why I say
Yeah.
that. So, but no, there are definitely the like super preppers that don't go off book, and then there's the rest of us who are
I'm 50-50.
yeah. So I'll do the reading and take general notes.
Yeah. And
Right,
then I'll
so-
like try and read them and then be like, well, I should have taken better notes. I do that every time.
Yeah.
All right, that leaves the last one for me, and that is
Number 11.
Number 11. This is a Star Trek question. Of course, it came to me. Do you guys give a shit at all? Can I just pop on?
Not one
I don't
iota.
watch Star Trek.
Do you remember what happened when we discussed Jurassic Park?
Yeah, you just glazed over. Yeah.
When I said I didn't watch it, and then I did finally watch it, and I went, it's overrated.
Star Trek was like I wasn't a sci-fi nerd. My brother was, so I did the fantasy. He did the sci-fi.
I had the problem with Star Trek where I looked at it and I'm like, that is too much water to drink out of that fire hose. I'm just going to avoid it altogether.
Fair enough. What's the question though? Pop off, King.
Okay, no one else seems to want to say it. Do the Borg have genitals? Why was Jean-Luc Picard special? Why did they turn him into Locutus? Was it because the Borg Queen impressed by his big swinging Picard?
Okay, so the Borg are... Okay, let me see if I got this right.
All right, yeah.
The Borg are the androids, correct?
No.
No.
Kind of. You're in the right realm.
They're
All I know,
machines.
all I remember from, all I can think in my head, because here's the thing. We have
All I know is Borg Cube.
that's the thing, I was going to say Borg Cube, because in our family, we have a family tree that's covered in Star Trek, Star Wars, and other nerddom ornaments. My mom calls it the crap tree, my dad calls it the good tree.
Yeah.
That is a good tree. Yeah, your dad's right on
And
this.
we have a Borg Cube that sits there.
okay, so-
And it talks. So...
All right, so here's just the 30-second breakdown because I know you guys don't care. And if people want me to pop off about Star Trek, I will do an episode about that.
Do a Star Trek mailbag, dude.
Yeah,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
absolutely. I'm all fucking for that because I've seen them all.
It'll be an Adam Solo episode.
I have opinions. There's nobody else. There's nobody else.
I don't think
that
there
has
is
seen
anyone
it.
else that does
No.
Star Trek on our group.
No,
All I know is Deep Space Nine is the best one. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say Voyager was what I've always been told is the best one.
Yeah, but Terry's wrong. So, so Terry says Voyager. Tyler is rewatching DS9 or watching for the first time with his wife
Yeah.
right now and loving every fucking second of it. Dave has seen the majority of it, but I think he missed some of like the animated series and some of the bullshit out
Fair
there.
enough, okay.
Anyway, so here's the deal with the Borg. The Borg are essentially, it's short for cyborg, although they never say that on the show.
Yeah.
So they're part flesh, part machine.
Yeah.
And the idea is that they have superior technology, so your weapons won't work against them. And even if your energy weapons hit them, they will adapt and they will have personal shields so that you only get 2 or 3 shots off. And then the entire collective has a hive mind. So they will all just be immune to your shit.
Learn how to be immune to your bullshit.
Yeah, so imagine playing D&D and suddenly fire spells don't work after round 3. and then cold don't work after round 3. And not just now, but for the rest of the campaign.
This just sounds like to me every community of females to be like, okay, this guy's hit on me 3 times. Great, none of us are going to take his shit. And there's a whole collective of females being like,
it's a hive mind.
What
hive
question
mind
was
of
that? We
this
should have
guy's
brought that up
shit.
during the dating advice.
so
3 times and you're done.
Yeah, 3 shots.
So the
No
idea,
means no.
the idea is that the Borg
Damn
cube showed
straight.
up, and the Borg cube dwarfs even the biggest spaceship out there. So like, it's scary, it's big, and it just kind of beelines toward Earth to like, they end civilizations. They show up, they just take all of the biological distinctiveness of these people, remove the parts they don't like, and slap machinery into the rest, and then they become more drones with one big hive mind. In the show, in The Next Generation, the main character, the captain, Patrick Stewart, Jean-Luc Picard, ends up getting kidnapped by the Borg, and they give him a name, Locutus. And he's the only
He's
one.
cutest.
No, it's actually I think it's Latin or Greek for speaker or voice or something like
Okay.
that.
Leader or something like
Well,
that?
it's specifically about speaking because he's the one passes the message.
Got
He's
you.
the only unique one. Everyone else is the hive mind, and so and that was the first time in syndicated history where we ended on a cliffhanger in an hour-long show. So it scared the shit out of everybody. Like, oh my god, is the main actor gone? Only for them to spend the first episode of the next season rescuing him, and that's why we have cliffhanger endings today. It was him. It was the Star Trek Next Generation that did that first.
I thought that was because of Fozzie. Fonzie jumped in the shark.
No, that's why we need to cancel series faster. So they went and they got him. They managed to undo all of the shit that to him, but he's permanently, his character from then on has PTSD about the whole thing. And then they have a movie later on that's Borg-centric that has a queen that actually runs the hive, just like a bee colony, right? So, and she focuses on the main characters again. And so that's what this question is. Do they have genitals? Why was he special? Why would they bother to turn him into Locutus in the first place? And was it because the Borg queen was impressed by his big swinging Picard? So that's where this question.
I'll answer the first and last question. I'm going to say no, with no other history other than what you just told us. No, they don't have genitals, and no, she wasn't impressed by what he had downstairs.
They
don't need to reproduce.
They don't need to
sexually,
reproduce.
So why would they have them?
But why
it seems superfluous.
I don't think that they would need to remove them because they tend to remove like sensory organs and arms and hands, right? So that they can do things and sense things better. For stuff like, you don't need a pancreas anymore, but they're not going to bother to remove it. They're just going to let it be there, right? So there are some instances, I believe, if I remember this correctly, where the biological side dies and the robot side is just running essentially a robot zombie for a while. Like,
okay.
So, but they don't bother to remove the
Just walking down the street and it just falls off.
Yikes. So anyway, the reason that he was special was because he was the captain of the flagship that was the first one that defeated them. He was turned into Locutus because they needed a voice to be able to communicate with everyone else, because for the first time in Borg history, they had been defeated by a biological only race.
Yeah.
The Borg Queen was invented because the studio thought that if we're going to make a movie about them, we need to have a villain and not just a faceless
entity.
Makes sense,
So they created a Borg Queen to be overtly sexual at a couple of the characters, at just
Product of the times.
every time, like
All time.
yeah. And so and I actually really like the Borg storyline. I think it's interesting, it's neat, it's unique. It's also been done to death, and if we don't see him again, I'm happy for a while. So
Perfect.
so yeah,
That's your answer.
that's my answer. It's not my favorite part of Star Trek. It's a little bit silly when you stop to think about how they have to keep retconning it.
Yeah.
And how, like, once you get captured, it's known. Once you get captured, you never get rescued. You're done, that's it. We will kill you to save you if you're in the midst of getting transformed.
Mm-hmm.
However, on like 7 different occasions, they've turned people back. Right? So, like, it's just that whatever's convenient for the plot.
Sure.
And the Borg went from being really scary to being Monster of the Week. So, I'm not interested. So, anyway, there we go.
That's a mailbag.
That's a mailbag. Do you guys have any other thoughts before we wrap this up?
It's good to be back in a mailbag chair. I like these episodes. They're fun.
They're always fun. They're always entertaining.
No prep.
I feel like I can be myself.
Yeah, and no prep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to be on for these ones. We just
No.
have to babble, which
Just
is
be
nice.
us.
Yeah, as soon as you're like, we're just going to record this episode and not another episode, I was just like,
Yeah.
fuck yeah.
It's usually a fight. I like the mailbags. I will last minute drop in. First come, first serve. Who's in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was
Right.
supposed to be Dave. He dropped out this week.
It was
Adam
supposed,
messaged
it was
me.
supposed
He's
to be
like, "Do you-
Terry, but he's
yeah.
on the other side of the country. So
Yeah.
then
Adam messaged me. He's like, Dave dropped out. Do you want in? I'm like, mailbag? Yeah, I'll do a
I
mailbag
took
last
over
minute.
for Terry,
Yeah,
so
you
you're
bet.
welcome. You're welcome, Internet, for today's beautiful episode.
But we're gonna schedule Dan, Dave, and Kyle for the next one
Because of these questions.
That'll be a fun one.
Yeah. All right. So that's it for this episode of the It's Mimic podcast. You can reach us on all the regular places. It's on every other episode. Thanks for supporting us. Thanks again to the patrons, because new computer, hopefully Boxing Day.
We have a donate button on our website at www.itsmimic.com.
Megan's recorded a few of these.
The podcast is It's a Mimic. You already knew that.
I hope so.
Yeah,
Surprise.
Are you okay?
Where you never know what you're going to get. So it's been a long ass day.
You're not wrong.
I do, however, have one last question from Dan.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
And it doesn't count for the regular episode because it's fucking Dan.
Okay.
Can you waterboard someone with a healing potion? And
No.
if so, what happens?
No, you can't.
You can physically pour liquid down the throat of an unconscious person, so
Great.
I'm going to say yes.
A healing potion is how big?
I can't.
Undefined.
I cannot waterboard you with even a 4-liter milk jug.
That's what I mean. It's just like if you're if the question as written is
Oh,
can you
I see. You're
waterboard
trying to like
somebody
actually waterboard. Yeah,
with
no.
with a potion, it is yay big, and I'm holding my hands up to be a nice sizable 3 inches, gentlemen.
That is at least 7. Thank you very much.
Someone is lying today, and we won't tell you who.
You can't waterboard somebody with that amount of
No.
liquid.
I will say this. I did manage to scalp Dan's character, like peel his scalp back, saw into his skull, and peel it back and start pulling at his brains.
Sorry, Dan or his character?
It's his character,
Yes.
while force feeding his character healing potions
To keep him alive?
to
Keep
keep
him
him
alive.
alive. I did do that, and the rest of the party had to come in and rescue his dumb ass for getting captured.
It's a regular thing.
Yeah.
It's a regular occurrence.
So that concept has happened in our game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we're hurting you and healing you at the same time, just keep you at 1 hit point
Yeah.
while you're restrained.
Yeah.
So that's the best you're going to get. No, you can't waterboard someone. That's no.
Different feel.
Totally different effect.
I so desperately want to know what it's like to be waterboarding, because everyone talks about how scary it is. And I'm like, but you're never in any real danger. And like, can you die from it?
Yes.
From waterboarding, yes, you can.
Can you? Because
Yes.
it's just the cloth
No, but
that
your
is wet.
body can have the reaction of suffocation just by simply your brain thinking you're suffocating.
And suffocation of drowning.
But
like
no, but I don't think you can.
No, but your brain can kill you
that's
by
what I
thinking
mean.
that
Like
you are
it's
suffocating.
gonna happen.
But if you know ahead of time that I'm just being waterboarded,
There is a point where your brain,
I know,
whatever you know, doesn't.
and that's my point. I'm wondering what my limit is. I never want to find out.
No.
but
I
I'm
was gonna
so
say, Adam,
I was
curious.
going to say,
If we wanna
Megan's got a
test
free
this-
afternoon.
Yeah, no,
Let me get my bag of healing potions.
I know that it's one of those
Called
things.
Fireball.
It's one of those things where it's like I have this innate, like those intrusive thoughts where you hold your hand over
Yeah.
a candle flame, and I'm just like, I wonder how long I can.
Uh-huh.
I have those occasionally, and I know better. I have
Yeah.
twisted ankles. I know how far I cannot jump now. But I remember being younger, going, I can make that.
Yeah.
And not being able to. I remember running so fast down a hill one time because I thought it was a good idea. If I just keep my legs going, I'll be fine.
Right.
But no, I went too fast and I went like a top heavy and skidded just like gravel hill
Yeah.
on my chest, ripped my whole shirt open, big road rash.
If you haven't done it, you haven't had a childhood.
Right? And that's just it. I mean, scouting
well,
was good for that.
I
too.
mean, that happened in my mid-20s, but
I once watched a drunk girl fall down an up escalator.
I have bruises and scabs from escalators, from running down hills, from all that shit
Yeah.
when I was in my mid-20s thinking I was
But
invincible.
you're like, I can do this.
I busted my right knee doing skydiving and landing wrong. I busted my left knee from doing drunken cheerleading. I have...
Were you a cheerleader?
I was a cheerleader.
Oh, I just learned new facts. This is fun.
Fuck. I'd have been a cheer follower.
I was a cheerleader after high school. I was a cheerleader in college. Yeah. Paid my bills.
I'm not even touching
Number 5, orange.
Holy
That's not
shit.
cheerleading.
First and 10, Rams go fight win. Just saying.
I'll take your word for it.
How many Rams?
None of your business.
What's the worst injury you've gotten?
The worst injury I've
Yeah,
gotten?
physical injury. We're not talking emotional scars.
Oh,
Physical injury.
that's minor then. I broke a leg playing soccer. Tib fib. Broke the tib in 2
Yeah,
places.
that
Shattered the
sucked.
fibula. Had screws, plates.
Were
the
you
whole
playing
thing.
it with a medicine ball? Like, fuck.
No,
It's
I had
bowling ball soccer
I
over
had
there?
a fat kid land on top of my leg with the ball
Oh.
underneath my leg.
Shit, yeah, that'll do it.
My mom heard the snap on the other side of the field.
I think I know that story, actually. I
Yeah.
think you've told me that before, yeah.
I popped a disc playing basketball when I was in high school. And it was like a weird, like, I have always had like a not great spine. But I remember going up for like a layup and then being like shoved.
Mm-hmm.
And then I landed wrong. And then it, literally 2 of my discs slid out of place. And I just hit the ground and didn't get up.
Oh.
And the worst part was, is our coaches at the time, because this was a practice. This wasn't even at a game. Our coaches were these 19-year-old boys that didn't know what to do. It was 5 o'clock at night. The gym, like, this was when landlines were a thing. So
Yeah.
the gym, they didn't know how to get a hold of my mom. Finally got a hold of my mom instead of calling the fucking ambulance.
Yeah.
And so my mom came and just started yelling at these gentlemen, put me in the car, and immediately took me to the hospital because I couldn't move.
Oh, yeah?
Like, I was like paralyzed from the waist down for a while. And that took me a long time to recover from. To this day, my back will go out every couple of months. Like, it's just not what it was since I was 16 years old.
Jesus.
So that'll be my worst one. That one and the drunken cheerleading knee episode, because that took about 4 months for me to be able to walk properly again.
I low-key believe that the low-impact, no-impact sports like soccer and basketball and baseball, when you get injured doing those, you're fucked up.
Yeah.
Because it takes a while. Like you can get a concussion once from football. You can get...
It's the ongoing cumulative effect of concussions.
Like you don't get concussions in basketball. I mean, it happens.
It
but
does, yeah.
But like... You're talking ACL. You're talking like slip discs. Like it is so fucking bad. It is. Not.
I got 3 concussions in cheerleading.
Cheerleading is different though. You're doing so much fucking backflipping.
I had bodies land on me on multiple occasions. Like, it's just, that's how it goes. So
Were you doing cheerleading, Megan, or was it just a bunch of drunk girls?
we were a stunt team, okay?
Yeah. The human demolition derby.
Parkour!
Fuck, that's something that I don't have the guts to do.
No hard pass.
No.
No, thank you.
So yeah.
Invincible.
I mean, I am invincible. I will live forever.
I'm lucky if I make it to next week.
No, I'm gonna live forever by cursing somebody. Like, I will come back.
We will resurrect you, Megan.
Yeah, I'll be back. I promise.
If you ever die, we're searching your house for stones and rituals to
Crystals?
be able to. Yeah, we're gonna put them all in the right place at the right time. Say the word, and then Megan's gonna come
I
back.
weirdly had this conversation with my sister this morning. I said, when I pass,
Fuck.
I want my body, when it's cremated, to be compressed into 4 gems, and then you scatter them around the earth, and then I will come back when they are brought back together. She's like, this is really fucked up, Megan. And I'm
I just
like,
want to be cremated
I
with
just-
fireworks in my pockets.
I want to become somebody's pocket sand.
No, I want to be scattered around the woods.
All right, that's cool.
No, not cremated first. I want people to find my places.
Oh, you can be those shoes that washed up around Vancouver
Oh,
for so
fuck.
long.
Did you ever know what that was?
No. Did
Okay.
they figure it out eventually?
Yeah. So, okay, this was a weird thing. Happened like 2016?
Yeah.
Right? Do you remember this, Megan, with all those shoes with
All the
feet?
with
feet
feet
and
in them.
shoes. Yeah,
they just
I
kept-
lived here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they kept washing up on the shores, and people were like, "There's the foot serial killer," but nobody was showing up, or no corpses or
No,
cadavers,
just the feet.
just the
No.
feet. And it wasn't until they started to get matching shoes that they finally figured out what was going on. There had been a plane crash, like a small plane crash that they knew about,
Yeah.
but had gone down in the water years ago.
The fish ate the bodies?
The fish ate the bodies, but the shoes were buoyant.
Right.
So the shoes all floated up and then washed
Right.
the shore.
Yeah.
And they still had feet in them because the fish couldn't get to the feet.
Right.
So that's where this is coming from,
Huh.
right? So that was like there was no crazy mafia shit that
No,
people were thinking.
that was the
about. This
original one. Yeah, I was like
Yeah.
sending a message.
Yeah. So disappointing, but
It's
You know.
like it's like hearing hoof prints and thinking zebra.
And on that note, weirdly enough,
I don't know where your mouse is on your 900 monitors.